a week-long G20 S20 meet where the worlds of diplomacy, innovation, and holistic health well-being converge. This momentous occasion of International Yoga Day brings together people from all walks of life, transcending boundaries and uniting us in the pursuit of holistic well-being and inner harmony. Before we begin our program, I would like to extend a special welcome to our distinguished guests present here who have graced us with their presence today. I would like to call upon guests on the stage for diya lighting and formally begin the program. Professor Lakshmidhar Behra, Professor Premvrat, Dr. Richa Chopra, Ms. Palami Mukherjee, Dr. Rajesh San, Dr. Suvro Kamal Datta, Mr. Rakesh Pandey, and Mr. Somjit Amrit. I would like all of you to please come on stage. I would request all the guests to kindly remove their shoes here. I would request all my esteemed guests to kindly be seated on stage. I would request Professor Lakshmidhar Behra to felicitate our esteemed guests with Himachali topi and shawl. First of all, our esteemed chief guest, Professor Premvrat, Chairman, Board of Governors, IIT Mandi. He is an outstanding academician. Professor Premvrat is a pro-chancellor, professor of eminence and chief mentor at the North Cap University, Gurugram. He has extensive experience of more than 52 years in teaching, research management development, and consultancy. He has guided 46 PhD theses, 118 MTech, and 65 BTech major projects on industrial application of system approach and management science. Team, kindly bring the Himachali topi and shawl for the felicitation. Yeah, go to Dr. Bera. He was late. Next is Dr. Richa Chopra. She is currently serving at the Center of Excellence for Indian Knowledge Systems, IIT Kharagpur, as a core faculty with her expertise in areas of yoga, Indian psychology, and spirituality. Now, Dr. Suvrokamal Datta, Senior Expert, Politics and Media. He is a mentor patron to several organizations, advisor to many registered bodies, a renowned media celebrity with expertise on politics, business, foreign policy, and education. Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Senior Producer, Times Now Navbharat. He has more than 10 years of experience. Apart from regular bulletins and debate shows, he has also anchored a defense-based weekend show named Vijay Bhav. Dr. Rajesh San, Assistant Director in Charge, Regional Ayurveda Research Institute, Pandor District, Mandi. He is an expert in Kshara Sutra and leech applications. He has been a person of Ayurveda with specialized skills in Shalya surgery for over 3 decades. Before joining the council, he has served in the Ayurvedic colleges as a reader and HOD in the Department of Shalya for 7 years. Thank you, Professor Behra. We are privileged to have each of you with us today and look forward to gaining insights and inspiration from your vast experiences and expertise. I would now request IT team to play IIT Mandi video on screen, please. How beautifully the memories have been captured. Very nostalgic, I must say. Now, I would like to invite our esteemed chief guest, Professor Prem Vrat, to deliver his address, setting the tone for this momentous event and sharing his valuable insights on the significance of yoga in today's world. Professor Prem Vrat.
Professor Lakshmidhar Behera, Director IIT Mandi, distinguished guests on the dais, distinguished guests of the dais, delegates to this G20 conference on yoga, dear students of IIT Mandi, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to welcome you all on behalf of IIT Mandi, as Chairman Board of Governors of IIT Mandi, to this very great initiative Professor Behera has taken in celebrating the 9th International Yoga Day. As you know that our Honorable Prime Minister, in the very first year of his becoming Prime Minister in the UN, could succeed the entire world body to celebrate 21st June as the every year as International Yoga Day. And in that context, we are assembling here to celebrate that event. In fact, after that, year after year, the momentum this function has been having is increasing almost exponentially. You can see that in the country and in almost every other country. And therefore, this is one thing which has brought India, in fact, very closer to the world leadership role, having an International Yoga Day being celebrated concurrently across the globe. And I compliment Professor Behera for having taken this initiative to make IIT Mandi as a very important center for celebrating this event and inviting you all from different parts of the country. I believe that you all, many of you have come, and I see Professor Richa Chopra from Kharagpur, which is my alma mater, and indeed so many of them. As you know that yoga is one of the oldest of the Indian dharohar, which indeed the world is now recognizing to be most outstanding contribution to your own personal well-being. It impacts your health, your happiness, your thinking, your thought process, and therefore both physical, mental and spiritual health is tremendously enriched by practicing this yoga. And fortunately, this is one such Indian great contribution to the world, which indeed now being recognized globally. I'm sure that you'll be hearing from the galaxy of the speakers, who many of them are practicing this extensively for years. On my own, I do not claim that I practice all of them, but I do in my own way, but more focus on pranayam, which indeed is something which makes for my health, but doable compared to the physical part. I therefore take this opportunity to welcome you all once again and hope that the deliberations that we'll be having in this would be a grand success. It will be a very memorable event. I once again thank you all for gracing this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting up the tone for the event. We will now have the pleasure of listening to Professor Lakshmidhar Behera, who will grace us with a speech on the topic Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, Yoga, the art of all work, enlightening us about the harmony between yoga and our daily endeavors. Professor Lakshmidhar Behera.
I heartily welcome all of you on this first day of our G20 S20 meet. And this happened to be the International Yoga Day. And it is my pleasure to have with us our chief guest of the event, Professor Prem Grath, Honorable Chairman of Board of Governors for IIT Mandi. And we have many dignitaries with us, including Dr. Richa Chopra, Dr. Subra Kamal Dutt, Dr. Shand, Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Ms. Paulmi. And I'm very happy that we are able to make this event in a very short notice, because long back we had planned that this time we will have a yoga day, and DST specifically wanted to bring some important people on this very day. So we knew that we will have a yoga day celebration, but we never thought that we will have a G20 S20 meet. But somehow I don't have to tell the story, but it has happened, and many dignitaries are going to come and visit us, and many of you are visiting IIT Mandi on this occasion to be part of this celebration. So what is the objective of this G20 S20 event that we are celebrating? Of course, IIT Mandi is not only the premier institute of India, but it is the institute within Himachal Pradesh. And Himalayan zone have their very significant role, being the border of our nation from the perspective of defense. Himalaya being the home to all kind of herbs, holistic health should be the representational idea of Himachal Pradesh. And Himachal being its own territory, having its varieties of challenges, so technology for the society is something that must be practiced here, because of difficult terrain, the locational disadvantages, and varieties of other problems like landslides, cloud burst, varieties of things. So given all those things, if you look at our theme, we start with the Yoga Day, then Holistic Health, Skill India. Our IIT Mandi has, last 1 year after I joined here, we started a new center for continuing education, and through that we have already trained 2,000 students through continuing education program. Now the CC has signed an MOU with Himachal Pradesh Kaushal Vikas Nigam to train another 650 by December 2023. So Skill India, we are really working on it, and many of you would also have a glimpse of tinkering lab that promotes science in an easily attractive and interesting way. Then we have technology for defense. I have already told what is the significance for Himachal, and technology for the society. And we end this event with renewable energy. So these are the events. Before I start, I thought that I will give, but today is Yoga Day. Yoga is the soft power. 2015, I visited Hangzhou DNG University, where they gave me a guest professor position there. And during that time, I saw in Shanghai, there are more than 100 yoga schools, yoga training center. In fact, while I was in IIT Kanpur, some of these centers contacted me that how IIT Kanpur helped them to build a strong program in yoga in China. Of course, in the course of time, the relationship between India and China have gone down, but yoga still flourishes in China. That is the power of yoga. It is real soft power. And India is the home to the soft power. In 2018, I gave a talk in MIT on how to build a conscious machine. And there, the researchers surrounded me asking, what is consciousness? So, with the advancement in AI, the way, for example, ChatGPT and other things have come up, now people are talking. Have we understood what is consciousness? And that is the fulcrum of Yoga Day. Yoga brings in the hidden energy, hidden creative energy within us, and not only within us, within entirety of the cosmos, that needs to be explored, that need to be experienced. And that's why my talk today is Yoga Karmasu Kausalam. Yoga is the art of all work. So what is this yoga? This is a phrase coming from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta duskrute tasmat yogaya yujyasho yogaha karmasu kausalam. This is a verse from 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 50th verse. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. We don't understand how well you may be educated, how well you may be sophisticated in terms of your wealth, power, position. This world provides you all kind of challenges. You go through the life's journey that are filled with thorns as well. Sometime you have your low moment, sometime you have your high moment, but the low moments most of the time supersede. And hence, we are not normally functional most of the time. Our creative potency doesn't blossom because of difficulties and challenges all around. But yoga teaches us how to remain in the state of equanimity in all situations and still perform. And that is why yoga is the art of all work. If you are in yoga, then you can perform in the most difficult situation. So I would like, because many of you are probably not very familiar with the term yoga, so I will give you some basic background that most of the time we don't realize who we are. That's because that is not the way our education system has been molded. We talk about our experiences, but we never talk about the experiencer. So in this slide you can see, universe is not outside of you. What is outside of us we don't know. But what is inside of me is my universe. So the universe is within the perceptual space of the self. And it took modern science more than 300 years to come to the state now that they have started wondering, what is this perceptual space? And the foundation of this perceptual space must be more fundamental than any form of entities that we know as of now, whether it is the elements of periodic table or it is the electronic spin configuration of each element in the terms of neutrons and protons, or even quantum field. That perceptual space which makes us act, perform, feel empathetic for the world, feel others' suffering, be human. In Indian knowledge system, in all our literature, we are told there are 8.4 million different species, and each one of them have their own universe and moves by its own universe according to its own perceptual space. Soul's an elephant, soul's a human. So this experience that I have is the only thing that I possess. We need to realize this. I am experiencing this auditorium with the dignitaries and the dais. That's within me. It's not outside of me. So my identity has two parts. I, the experiencer, and my experiences. Unfortunately, we have not given any importance to the experiencer part of my identity. Modern science started 300 years back with the data of Tycho Brahe, who collected planetary motions, always observing in the distant skies. Those data were later realized or used by Kepler to give us 4 laws of motion. And then Newton from Cambridge combined them and gave us the laws of universal gravitation. But we remain in data. We never transcend data. So this is one of the stumbling blocks in the progress of science and technology, specifically the science. In conditioned state, the experiencer and the experience are not the same. But Vedanta says, when we perfect the experiencer and experience, there is no difference, there is a collapse. How do we bring these wonderful ideas within science? And they need us. Science now needs these kind of ideas. So just to give you, some of you may be worried, thinking about, in a simple way, when I eat, I experience the taste of the food. When I see, I experience the shape, color, location, emotion. So that is, we experience psychological aspects of sense objects. Sound, touch, form, taste and smell, but not what sense objects are made of. In fact, within Indian system, we say the world is made up of sense objects consisting of Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Swada and Gandha. So what is yoga? I have some experience. But then in that experience, I don't see myself. So yoga means sanctifying my own experience. When I introspect and meditate on myself, my nature, I may experience something deeper which is inexpressible in any language or words. That's me. That's each one of us. Unfortunately, we do not know within science how do we experience. You see, in the theater, the performance of Ram Leela. Sometimes you are crying, sometimes you are in distress, sometimes you are laughing, sometimes you are enjoying. But you don't know who is the experiencer. In neuroscience, we call it as binding problem. Because if I look at the seeing experience, within my visual cortex, some part is processing shape, some part is processing color, some part is processing location, but I have unity of percept. Unfortunately, we have no model within science that can explain the experience that we have, because we don't understand what is experience here. For example, light as experienced by a conscious device is yet to be ascertained. Light is not simply wavelength. Red is this much wavelength. Green is this much wavelength. No. A conscious device measures conscious attributes, qualia, emotion, desires, feelings. And that is not how. For example, seeing means interacting with the light. And this light has everything. We don't know how we interact with this. If science were to take off to the next level, we need to understand this. Otherwise, science will stagnate. Some of the things I am going to skip. So one of the things, that profound idea, when Arjuna was confused in the middle of the battlefield, Lord Krishna, to illuminate him, spoke in various ways the conscious energy, the indestructible, immutable conscious energy. And there he said, Avinasi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasam abhayasyasya na kaschit kartam arhati. Know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Because Arjuna was thinking he is going to kill his grandsire Bhishma. He is going to kill his own esteemed teacher Drona. He was extremely mortified. But Krishna said, no, you can't kill the conscious energy. It is always an eternal substance, never subject to the material warfare. Very profound idea. Very profound idea. Even when Lord Jesus was to be crucified, he told the people who came there to crucify him, fine, if you can really catch me, then crucify me. We had many seers of truth in this very wonderful, pious land of Bharatavarsha. Many of them have been self-realized, and they see the truth and they tell us. And we need to hear with attention of the gravity. There are some more verses I can tell you. In Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says in 13th chapter, 34th verse, O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. I am in front of you, I am speaking, you are hearing. However, the moment the same conscious energy leaves this body collapses, and you will carry this body to be cremated. But conscious energy still remains. That which illuminates must be divine. Seers of truth have understood the nature of both the spirit and matter. This has been described in 2.16. But how is it possible one indestructible energy and the other transformable energy together coexist within the same body? Appears to be mystical. Mystical it may be, but the effects can be studied. We are conscious fast. We are trying to create machines that would appear as good as human. But how wonderfully you may create a machine, it cannot replace a conscious machine or a living organism. Any living organism or conscious machine it has experience of hunger, fear, sleep, sexual desires. It has the ability to self-replicate. It is highly creative. Whereas no AI machine as of now has these properties. No self-replication, neither it is creative. So what is this consciousness? This has to be introspected and realized. We have to give time to it. We have to give time to the self. As of now, it is because of consciousness I experience, and within my experience, I need to see the source of that experience, and that is consciousness. An experience at the level of senses and body, hunger, thirst, sexual attraction, fatigue, these are the first level of experience of consciousness, but they are not pure. An experience at the level of mind, we all desire. We seek happiness, we go through distress. Sometimes we are in deluge when failure hunts us and we are overwhelmed when we are successful. An experience at the level of intellect, Marxism, capitalism, Buddhism, Vedanta, and an experience at the level of false ego. I'm an Indian, American, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, male, female, white, black. But pure consciousness is beyond all these things. There are two levels of consciousness. One is divine, that is Sat Chit Ananda, eternally full of knowledge and joy. Whereas the consciousness that we go through inhibits our performance, which is connected to yoga karmasu kausalam, because too much of materialism. In a sense, we are all suffering from lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, pride. Very important. In Indian knowledge system, in the basic education level, we are taught lust is the all-devouring enemy. We must know how to conquer it. Then you can perform. One of the things the science is lacking as of now, empiric science, it doesn't understand the importance of the source. Source matters. I was a single cell, a fusion of sperm and an egg in the beginning. But if you accept that sperm and ovum are just chemical substance, then until now we should have been able to create a new organism. But we have not even able to produce an insignificant grass. We can observe the self-replicating process, but we cannot synthesize the process in the lab. In 2003, the Nobel Prize for Medicine went to 3 Nobel laureates, and they put a worm under a microscope. Under the microscope, they saw how a fertilized egg is spreading from 1 cell to 2 to 4 until it becomes completely 261 cells. But all those 261 cells have their procreative organs. It has locomotion, it has ability to sense the world, everything. They studied and they got the Nobel Prize. We can see it, but we cannot replicate. Each individual conscious mind expresses itself as a plant, an aquatic, an animal, a human. This is the beauty of Vedanta. Vedanta doesn't discriminate between species. These are all unit of consciousness, but being conditioned with the material vision, they save themselves in the varieties of features, sometimes plants, sometimes aquatic, birds, reptiles, animals, and humans. So my mind expands through every cell as I grow. It is not a cellular explosion that is happening, but it is my mind that is expanding. This needs to be brought into within empiric science. And my mind simply doesn't expand within my body. It also goes outside the body. For example, if I have a nice bungalow, when that bungalow collapses due to earthquake, I feel like being collapsed. Unfortunately, this mind-body connection is not very well understood as of now. Suppose I cut my finger, everybody understands without finger my character, my behavior won't change much. But there is some disorder in my brain, my personality changes. I'm called dementia patient, I'm called Parkinson patient, Alzheimer patient because of brain. So the popular notion within science, mind is simply brain in action. But that's not true. Mind is a more fundamental energy, is a subtle form of energy that programs this body how to function. Just like a robot, if I program the robot works the way I have programmed it. Mind is a more fundamental energy. It's a material energy. It's not a spiritual energy. But it appears to be spiritual because its closeness with consciousness. So what is this mind? It constantly, it has certain desires, certain thoughts. It manifests itself. If you are calm, you look at your mind, you will only see your thoughts. And that is what Buddha said, purge all your thoughts. And when you become thoughtless, you enter into nirvana. And what mind does, when those thought appears, one of them, it accepts, rest it rejects. Very few of us are aware that mind is an element within our bodily system that is in mode of goodness. That is why when you are stressed out, you visit Himalaya, you enjoy seeing the serenity of this place, the hills, the mountains, the streams, the cloudy skies, or you go near a ocean, you feel very happy because mind is an element in mode of goodness. But the moment we associate with anything with the mode of passion and ignorance, mind gets agitated. And that is why we are not very functional. Yogaha karmasu kausalam. The best way to be creative is to understand what is mode of goodness. So mind and mode of goodness, you see here, when you are in ignorance, you always lament for the past. And when you are in passion, you are always hankering for the future, daydreaming. But only when you are in mode of goodness, you remain in your present state. You recognize what is your duty. Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. You start also contemplating on the nature of truth. Associate with other seekers. You become a seeker and you attain your natural state. And when we transcend even three modes by contemplating on the nature of transcendence, the same mind becomes spiritualized and reveals yourself. Mind becomes that transcendental mirror in which you can see yourself. So if you look at Vedanta, the constituents of conscious experience is not only body, the way we understand within science, body and mind. It goes beyond that. You have to understand a subtle form of energy in the form of mind, and beyond that, intelligence, conceptual framework, false ego, your pseudo-identity, soul, your real identity, and then cosmic consciousness. So what is yoga? To align mind, brain, body and soul with absolute consciousness or cosmic consciousness. If you understand the idea of cosmic consciousness, then Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We see everyone part of the same family. Gross body is aligned with the subtle body. Subtle body is aligned with the soul. Soul is aligned with the super soul. This is the way yoga works. So, normally what we do, when we see a human body, we see in the form of blood, bone, flesh. But that's not the way we see when you study Bhagavad Gita or any other literature. So, there are, for example, here, if you look at the body here, we see different form of energy. The outer form that you see is your sthula sarira or annamaya kosha. But that is being effectively activated or actualized because of mental energy. So mental energy is more fundamental than your gross energy. And then you have karana sarira. So there are different forms of energy. So this is something this requires more deliberation. So this is I have to tell you the constitutional way of how communication takes place from one form of substance to another form, like super soul and soul. They communicate in a language called para, or spiritual language. Then we have subtle body to soul, they communicate in a sound called pashanti. And from gross body to subtle body, there is a communication language called madhyama. And what you are hearing me is called Baikhari, the sound that is airborne. So, mind, when it is associating with the pure self, it is getting positive energy. Same mind, when it engages with the body, it derives negative energy. So, when mind is guided by the conscious agent, then body is also spiritualized, then it becomes yoga karma sukausalam. That is why in Indian knowledge system, whoever you are, whether you are a king or you are a sweeper, everybody is supposed to go through all these hobbies in their life. Satsanga, meditation, organic farming, yoga, community service, Gaushala, Indian performing arts, all these things. Just to end some of the things that we have done, we have been doing, and after I came here, we established also center in Indian knowledge system. So you can see here, we subjected many IIT Kanpur students with a rag darwari. This is a classical raga, and this is a evening raga, and we gave that evening raga to 20 students. And this raga, through this raga, we could make our students focused in their studies. Interesting aspect here in the study is that we found out when people are highly agitated, that is mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Your mind, your brain has a lot of cross-talking. Your brain has different division, occipital lobe, amygdala, varieties of regions. And there is cross-talk. They are all talking to each other. You are not able to focus. But when we subjected them to this raga, then we saw in their brain the crosstalk is finished, and only minimum connection within the brain is there, and every part of brain, the main part of the brain that is supposed to be functional has become highly active. So this was published in scientific reports. The other paper, that in the same thing, you see there, Mishra Jogia Raga, there are many students, they go through emotional break. Recently, Ministry of Education has actually warned all IITs because of suicides that are happening, particularly IIT Madras has almost 4 or 5 suicides in 1 year, this year. And of course, this is not only confined to one IIT, it's all across. And that's because we are not able to cope up with the stress of our life. And we did a study in Mishra Jogia Raga, and these are all Indian knowledge system, those who are expert. They know, suppose somebody is going through depression, what raga, what music he should hear. The science is already there. It's not that we are doing something new. We went to the expert, we got the medicine, now we are trying to analyze within empiric science And again we found the way this Mishra Yogiya Raga is able to help students how to cope up with their stress. This is published in +1. We also, this is something that I personally devised, CBT, prayerful CBT. CBT is known to help people who are suffering from insomnia, varieties of sleep disorder, how to help them. But I myself created this prayerful CBT, and we administered again to IIT Kanpur students. And we found, normally when you don't have good sleep, throughout the day, you feel sleepy, you feel lazy, you don't feel like working. And all our subjects, they were all cured of all these symptoms. And this is published in the Springer Journal. So basically what I'm trying to say, it is not yoga is some kind of ritual. It has very much scientific benefits for yogaha karmasu kausalam, to make you much more creative, effective, and performing. This is the center that we have established in IIT Kanpur. I think we are the first IIT where we have introduced a core course for the first year students, compulsory course, Introduction to Consciousness and Holistic Well-being. Because students don't know who are they. And in this, we teach them science of consciousness, different models of consciousness, yoga, meditation, good diets, good habits. We make them to trek mountains in the morning hours. We also put them in the sattvic cooking sessions. We make them go through some social service. So all those things are the component of this. And some of the studies, you can see these are the actions that they do. And these are some of the effects you can see. How each one of them who performed, there in the class there are more than 160, 170 students. And all of them, all their physical parameters that we can measure have improved beyond expectation. And this is what we would like. We want to be a healthy society. If we know what is holistic well-being, we know how to change our lifestyle for good. So thank you very much. Therefore, be situated in yoga. Yoga is not a religious ritual, but a way of life. Be mindful what you eat, what you listen, what you talk, and with whom you associate. By contemplating on the nature of Absolute, one can spiritualize one's mind and body. By hearing from right source and authority, one must be situated in spiritual intelligence that will guide the mind and body to align with the divinity. Thus, best policy, from my opinion, is to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna as given in Bhagavad Gita. Again, yogaha karmasu kausalam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom. Very enlightening. Next, we have the privilege of hearing from Dr. Richa Chopra, who will deliver a thought-provoking session on universal ideas from Patanjali Yoga Sutra on mind and mental health, philosophy and practice, exploring the profound teachings of the ancient sage and their relevance in modern times. Dr. Richa Chopra.
My pranams to all distinguished Badijan, I would say, on the stage, and to all of us, namaskars, the audience, students, teachers, and all those of us who are listening today. I have about 20 minutes, and I'm extremely thankful to Professor Behra, firstly for inviting me, thinking of me. We had met recently in Delhi IIT, and also making my task a little easier by putting the question, who am I? So I would be taking all of us through, rather it's a co-reflection, I would say, all of us as human beings, to understand who we are. And once we understand who we are, how do we really celebrate our life and existence without much sufferance? And that is what yoga does. So I will be going through some of the ideas from Maharshi Patanjali's Yoga Sutras on mind and mental health, and see how we can use these simple techniques by first understanding the philosophy into really empowering ourselves without actually needing psychiatrists and counselors. We have the power to do so. So universal ideas from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras on mind and mental health. The new national education policy, if we have studied, talks about Atma Vidya, that is self-realization. And our Shastras, when we look at our Shastras and the values that they emphasize, it is Satya Buddhi, a mind which is rooted on truth, Ahimsa, that is non-violence, non-aggression, not only at the level of speech, but at the level of thought and intent, Tyaga, that is sacrifice, Nishkama Seva, Karma Yoga, Dhriti, that is perseverance, the ability to just go on, Shanti. So these are some of the words that you see on the thing, and we'll see how we achieve that. How many of us want actually these values in our life? Maybe we can raise our hands. How many of us want all these values in our lives? Yes? The rest don't want? So my Guru Pujya Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar ji, he says, a disease-free body, a quiver-free breath, we breathe also, so a quiver-free breath, a mind which is stress-free, an intellect which is free from obsession, a memory which is free of obsession, an intellect which is free from inhibition, an ego that includes all, and a soul which is free from sorrow, is the birthright of every human being. So when we look carefully at this saying by Pujya Gurudev, it immediately suggests that we are not mere physical bodies. Yeah? So we have a physical gross body, all of us, with organs, bloods, all the organs and the tissues and everything. But what sets us apart is that we are all breathing, yes or no? The first thing that we did when we came to this planet was we took a breath in and then we cried. How many of us agree to this? Pehle hum roye nahi, pehle saans li, phir hum roye, right? So I would want all of us to pay attention, because this knowledge is extremely important for us. It is fundamental. And when we die one day, the last thing that we will do is we will breathe out. And our whole life of 40, 60, 80 years is first breath in and the last breath out. And we do so many things in between. So that is our second level of existence. The first is our body, physical body, yes? We can relate to this knowledge. Second is that we have the breath. The third level of our existence is mind. How many of us have heard of this term, mind? Yes, mind. Now, if I ask you, show me where your body is, we can immediately show our body, right? This is my hand, this is my eye. Show me where your breath is. We may not be able to show, but we can at least pinpoint that something is happening around the nostrils. Yes, yes, yes. Are you there at the back? And if I say, show me your mind, it is impossible to show the mind. Impossible. You may say my mind is here or my mind is not here. But if I say, show me where your mind is, it is absolutely impossible to show the mind. But it is there, definitely, isn't it? We feel it all around us. So what is mind? What is mind? Let us understand these basic concepts so that it is very easy to understand what yoga is. First, let's understand our fundamentals. What is mind? Now, if I ask you, am I wearing something in my ears? You will say immediately, yes. How did you know it? I saw it. Are you hearing what I am saying? You will say, yes. How did you know? I heard you, right? But are the eyes and the ears enough to see and to hear? Yes or no? No. Many a times things are there in front of us and we don't see. Many a times so much is being said, but we really don't register. Yes, no? Because with these sense organs, we need the faculty of mind. Do we agree to this? Yes, if the mind is not there, we will not be able to see properly or hear properly or utilize any of our senses. So what is mind? It is a perceptive ability that works through the senses. Yes, we perceive the world through the mind and the five senses. Yes. So in the language of yoga, this function of mind is called manas. Let's remember these small little terms. Manas, the mind when it works through the five senses. In the last 10 minutes, you have seen me and heard me, right? Through the eyes, ears, and mind. Yeah? That's the manas. Now, when you have seen me and heard me through the eyes, ears, and mind, you have made some judgment about me. Yes? Can you raise your hand? Some judgment. She's good, she's not good, she must be 50, she must be 80, she must be 20, something. This discrimination, this adjective on the information that the senses and the mind brings to us from the world, and we start labeling it, putting some judgment, that is not the manas, that is the buddhi. I want us to understand these basic things because these are our functions. This is our fundamental. Who am I? So we have a physical body, we have a breath, we have the manas that works through the senses, and we have the buddhi. Yes? Let's take the story forward. We also have a storehouse, and we remember things. That is the memory. It is unfortunate that we remember more trivial things than good things, but we have the storehouse. That's the memory, smriti. And the fact that we relate ourselves with a naam and roop, name and form, my body, my mind, my this, my that, that is because of the ahankar, ego. Yes? So 6 levels I said. What all? Physical body, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego. That's what Gurudev says here. A stress-free body, a quiver-free breath, a disease-free body, stress-free mind, inhibition-free intellect, obsession-free memory, ego that includes all. So all the 6 levels are here. My next question to all of us is, our bodies have changed in the last 20, 30 years. Yes, no? Nobody has told us. I know my body has changed. Who knows? Something in me knows my body has changed, right? My breath keeps changing all the time, yes? If I'm angry, my breath becomes fast, and if I'm upset, my breath is shallow. Who knows? I know that my breath has changed. My mind keeps changing all the time. Sometimes it wants to see here, there, it wants to hear, there. My intellect keeps changing. Sometimes it is very positive, sometimes it's very manipulative. My memory content also keeps changing, isn't it? So something in me is aware that my mind with all its functions are also changing. How many of us agree to this? I can observe that, I know. This collective mind, that is manas, buddhi, ahankar, we call it as chitta in yoga philosophy. Chitta, collective mind. What does it have? Manas that works through the senses, buddhi, the discriminative function, and ahankar. We call it as chitta. And I know that my chitta also keeps changing. Yes, I know that. Nobody needs to tell me. I know things outside me are also changing. I know in my body things are changing. I know my breath is changing. I know my chitta is changing. Who knows in me? That's the question. So the one in me that is aware of all the changes, that is seeing the changes, that is the experiencer of all the experiences, we call it as Purusha in the philosophy of yoga. Yes, are we together here until now? Because once we understand, then it becomes interesting. Or we call it as Brahman, Atman in the philosophy of Vedanta. The self, that unchanging me, which is aware of all the changes. We all have that in us, yes? When I go to deep sleep, I get up and I say, oh, I had a very good sleep. If you were in deep sleep, how did you know? When you are dreaming, you said, oh, I had so many dreams. How did you know? Right now we are awake and we say, oh, I am awake. So states of consciousness, that is chitta or beyond that, is changing, and we are aware of those changes also. So that means there is something in me which is unchanging, which is aware of all the changes in my level of existence, and it is also aware of the changes in my states of consciousness. The story begins from there. So I wanted the fundamentals to be clear. That is the Sandarbha. So the study of mind and behavior has evolved under the rubric of psychology, which is about 140 plus years young. But unfortunately, psychology has attended more and more nuances on understanding behavior with a predominantly physical, empirical, scientific lens. And this is a matter of subjectivity. Positivist and anthropocentric view leading to utter neglect of the inner world, self-awareness, experiential realities, and insights from Eastern perspectives, including Indian knowledge system, that has been not encompassed very well. And that has led to the acceptance of a lopsided view of reality, causing an impoverished perspective of human potential. This is where we stand. If I am hungry, I don't need somebody to tell me how hungry I am. I know it. I don't need a machine to tell me. So I know of certain truths in me, and that data and that validation can happen only by me because it is subjectively true to me. Right? So, the whole purpose of knowledge as students, as teachers, is sa vidyaya vimuktaye, that is, knowledge is that which liberates. Liberates means what? It frees us from all the clutches of our mind. That is what Vidya has to do in any educational institution or in any sphere of life. It has to really free us. But the knowledge that we give, we impart, has it really made us really very free from inside? The answer is no. More stress, more tension, more worries. That means something is not right. And that is where yoga is so important, because this is what education should bring in. True emancipation and Atma Vidya in all of us. Rest is all skills, livelihood, and so on and so forth. So here, I would like to start with a story. How many of us have heard of Upanishad? Can you please raise your hand? Upanishad, suna hai ye shabd. Okay. Can somebody tell me from the students, what is Upanishad? Even if it is not completely correct, but make an attempt. What is Upanishad? No? No idea? Okay. How many of us have heard of Vedas? Okay. What is a Veda? Okay. So in the Vedas, one of the last segment of the Vedas is called Upanishads. It means it has the highest knowledge. It is the culmination of the knowledge of Vedas. So I will not go deeply into what Upanishads are, but basically it has knowledge about Brahman, Atman, who am I, and how to be there, how to reach there. So one small story. In our ancient Indian times, the knowledge tradition was of orality. Yes, it used to be passed down from the guru to the student. Yes, and mostly the gurus were the fathers. So there was a guru by the name of Varuna, Rishi Varuna, and he had a son called Brigu. So Brigu wanted to know what is Brahman, what is Atman, what is Purusha, in the terms of yoga. Yeah, but what is that Atman, with that unchanging me? Yes, I'm just using different names. So his father Varuna says, go and do tapasya, you will know. Contemplate. So he does a lot of contemplation, meditation, comes back, and he says, oh, I think Brahman is annam, food. So his father says, no. Your answer is not satisfying. Go and contemplate a little more. He comes back and then he says, maybe Brahman is prana, vital life force. We have a vital life force. Again, something he feels it's not satisfying. He goes and asks his father. Father says, no, go and meditate a little more. You'll get the answer. He comes back and he says, oh, Brahman is mind, thoughts. Yeah. Then the father says, no. Meditate a little more. Then he comes back and he says, oh, Brahman is higher intuition. But then he realizes, no. Brahman is something which is light, which is joy, and food is changing, vital energy keeps changing, mind is changing, higher intellect, people with such higher intellects are there on this planet, but still they are not happy. So how can that be Brahman? And then he realizes, oh, Ananda is Brahman, and beyond that. So in Professor Lakshmi Behra's slide, we had seen the Anandamay Kosh, Annamay Kosh, Pranamay Kosh, yes, Manomay Kosh, the different sheets of human existence that actually has its roots from Taittiriya Upanishad, and it is also called Bhriguvalli or Varuni Vidya. This is how we have these very beautiful stories in our Upanishads, which gives us glimpses as to what we are as human beings. But unfortunately, all these things are not taught. Yeah, so he says, Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Mano Brahmeti Vyajanat, so on and so. He realized the food is Brahman, then he realizes the prana is Brahman, and then finally he realizes, oh, Brahman is Ananda, so on and so forth. Now, with this understanding of our levels of existence, that is body, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego, and the unchanging, and also a story from Taittiriya Upanishad, which talks that Annamay Kosh, Pranamay Kosh, Manomay Kosh, Vijnanmay Kosh, and Anandamay Kosh, we get certain glimpses that all these things are changing, but the unchanging in me is what it is. The whole philosophy of yoga actually is to separate the changing with the unchanging. In Yoga Sutra, we also call it as Viyoga. Anything that is changing is Prakriti, and what is not changing is Purusha. Separating the Purusha from the Prakriti is Viyoga, or we call it as Yoga. So, certain ideas from Yoga Sutras. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is said given by Rishi Maharshi Patanjali about 3,000 years back. Nobody exactly knows exactly when did he come to this planet, the life of this sage. But it's an assumption. And it's not that yoga started from him. The mention of yoga has been there in our Vedas, Upanishads, but he systematically put together the whole science of yoga. And the first sutra of Maharshi Patanjali beautifully says, Ataha Yoga Anushasanam, let me tell you about the discipline of yoga. So he gives the cue that yoga means discipline, that means some effort has to be put. It's an Anushasan. It is a discipline which is self-imposed first. And then he gives the definition of yoga. Yogascha chitta vritti nirodha. He doesn't say it is asana or it's body flexibility. He says yoga is arresting the modulations of the mind. Chitta, I just explained chitta. Yes, how many of us remember chitta? Manasa, buddhi and ahankar is chitta. So he says, yogascha chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? It is actually stilling the modifications of the mind. Our mind has modifications, and stilling those modifications is yoga. How many of us agree that the minds have modification? Yes, lots of modification. Then he says, what will happen if the modifications of the mind are stilled? Kya ho jayega? Then it says, tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthanam. It is when the mind is stilled, I can be anchored on the seer. I can be rooted in the seer. मैं साक्षी भाव से सबको देखता हूँ, देख सकता हूँ. And if that doesn't happen, vritti sarupya mitratra, I become one with the modifications of my own mind. In the first chapter of Yoga Sutras, which is called Samadhi Pada, beautifully a hint that it is a discipline, a definition that it is arresting the modulations of the mind, and third, when the modulations are arrested, I become a sakshi, and if the modulations are not arrested, I become one with the activities of the mind, and that is sufferance. Yes? Is this clear till now? And then he talks about the nature of the mind. What is the nature of the mind? He talks, there are vrittis in the mind, there are modifications in the mind, and he says, vrittayaha panchatayaha klishta klishta, there are 5 modulations in the mind. 5 kinds of modifications happen in all human minds all over the world. 5 modifications. There's no 6th modification. And what are these modifications? ये क्या उतार चढ़ाव होते हैं हम सबके मन में? He says it is pramana. Pramana is right knowledge. Viparyaya, which is incorrect knowledge. Vikalpa, the mind imagines. Nidra. Nidra is also a modification because we are aware when we go to deep sleep. We are aware of that the mind is getting into a state of sleep. So that is why Nidra is also a modification. And Smritayaha, which is remembrance of things which one cannot forget. The mind is clutched with these 5 vrittis. And then he talks about the klesha of the mind. He talks about samskara, which is the impressions, the vasanas of the mind. I will not go into depth. And then how the mind also suffers because of the obstacles, which is vyadhi, illness of the body, sthana, samshaya, pramada, and so on and so forth. And with the obstacles comes dukkha, daurmanasya, bitterness, angamev jayatva, non-coordination between body and mind, and change in the breathing pattern. He talks about all this. And he also talks about the pancha klesha, avidya, asmita, raga is attachment, dvesha is animosity, and so on and so forth. So beautifully he's given the goal of our life to be in the seat of the seer, and he talks about the mind and all the nature and characteristics of the mind. And then he says in the end, how do we get over through this vrittis, through the kleshas, through the obstacles? And then he talks about the Ashtanga Yoga, yama, niyama. Asana is only the 3rd limb, and we think yoga is only asana. He talks about the yamas, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So we don't have time to go into the depth, it's an ocean, but at least in these 20-25 minutes, we know that there is a science through which we can really understand our mind, and we ourselves can actually handle our own mind through the practices. Everybody talks about the same, ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. There is only one reality, that is the unchanging Brahman, Atman. The wise speak of it in different ways. And at the Center of Excellence for Indian Knowledge Systems at IIT Kharagpur, we are 4 core faculty members. Each one of us is teaching different subjects. I teach yoga psychology and Indian spirituality. We are teaching Indian astronomy and also Ashtadhyayi Paninian's grammar and computational linguistics. We have PhD scholars, we have BTech students who are doing their projects. I have 52 BTech students who are doing their project on Indian spirituality. It's a record-breaking number. This shows that they're all third and fourth year students, that how thirsty they are for this knowledge. And if we can really very properly give this knowledge to the students, why will they not employ this knowledge to really understand who they are? There is a saying by Pravrajika Divyanandaji, what is the point in knowing anything in the world without really knowing yourself? So the way we know this is the part of my body, this is how we need to teach our students and to everybody that this is the mind, this is the nature of the mind, this is how the mind works. And because I can watch my mind, it's good news that the mind is an object and what is watching the mind is a subject. If I can watch this, I can handle this very well. If I can watch my mind, I can handle my own mind. I don't need anything else. But we need to really empower students and everybody with this knowledge of yoga, not just asana and meditation or one international day of yoga, but they have to systematically really unearth the Upanishads and the Yoga Shastras to understand how to really handle and be Jivan Mukt and reach their highest goal of Atma Vidya, and then do everything what one has to do on this planet. With this, I thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Indeed, very inspiring session. Thank you. Ms. Palumi Mukherjee has also joined us on stage. She could not be part of the morning ceremony. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce her and would like to request Professor Behra to felicitate her. Ms. Palumi Mukherjee, she is a senior faculty, The Art of Living, and Regional Director, Government Programs. She has been teaching at the Art of Living workshops for youth empowerment, stress elimination, mind management, meditation, and yoga for past 22 years. We will now be inspired by her as she shares her insights on making yoga an integral part of our daily lives, emphasizing practical ways to incorporate yoga into our routines and experience its transformative effects. Ms. Palumi Mukherjee.
Thank you, ma'am. My apologies for the delay. I'll start with a small prayer. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnani Kamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Namaskar and pranams to one and all present here. It is indeed an absolute honor and pleasure to share this time, space with Professor Behra, Dr. Richa Chopra and the distinguished guests of honor and an august audience here. You know, I was just seeing the presentations that Professor Behra, Dr. Richa Chopra did. It was absolutely brilliant. Actually, I have nothing left to talk about. So I've decided to make this session experiential. Are you with me? Yes? Can we experience a bit of this magic, this wonder, this miracle called yoga? Yes? Yeah? You know, how many of you, I'll ask you a question. We'll keep it a little informal and participative. Yes? Can we do that? Show me a thumbs up, say a yes. Yes? I know you've had breakfast, so you must be feeling sleepy. Participation will wake you up. Okay, how many of you agree with this thing that I'm going to tell you now? That, you know, each one of us is a yogi. How many of you agree? Please put your hands up. Whether you believe it or not, please put your hands up. You are an yogi. And how? See, when we were children, have you all seen little children? Yes? Today, suddenly a small little baby walks into the stage, everybody will forget everything and all attention will go to that little child. Yes? You know, few years back, we all were children and we all knowingly, unknowingly, we did yoga. We are yogis. Have you observed a child when the child is sleeping? It is doing this chin mudra. You know, your thumb and your first finger, index finger. Have you noticed a child sleeping? Yes? Involuntarily. It is built in nature. ये प्रकृति का ही एक वो निहित है उसके अंदर. Have you seen a child sucking the thumb? Involuntarily, you know, this is called the Merudanda Mudra. This strengthens the spine. So the child, while sucking the thumb, is automatically doing the Merudanda Mudra. Then when the child grows up a little more, have you seen the child comes on the stomach and tries to get up? Does the Bhujangasana on its own, yes? It raises its one feet, Shalabhasan, bow posture, Dhanurasan. Notice, the child is the best yoga teacher. If you don't have a yoga teacher, go and watch the child. And if you see, Dr. Richa has so beautifully said that when the meaning of yoga is yuj, comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, that is to unite. Unite what? Unite all the levels of our human existence. Like Dr. Richa Chopra very beautifully enunciated, we have 7 layers, 7 levels of our existence. It is not just the body, not just the mind. We have the breath, we have the body, we have the breath, we have the mind, we have our intellect, which is the decision-making, discriminatory faculty. We have the memory, which is the storehouse of all memories, past information. And then we have ego, and then we have the self, soul, Atman, jo bhi bolte hain. But you see, today, because of our lifestyle, because of the kind of habits, because of the world, the way technology and the way the world is, fast progressing, and that then also with our own mind. My guru, I'm a disciple of Gurudev Pujya Shri Ravi Shankar Ji. In his own humorous, witty way, he says, if there is something that is giving competition to God, can anybody tell me? What is giving competition to God? Even little children say that these days. It is a very fashionable word. It's called stress. Isn't it? Even little children say, oh, मुझे बहुत stress है. Yeah? So what is stress? Stress is a condition which is omnipresent these days. That's why they are saying it's giving competition to God. So stress is a condition. Just listen to this and you can repeat it. Stress is a condition where there is too much to do in life, but too little time and too little energy. Yes, no? Would you agree with me? बहुत कुछ है करने के लिए, समय भी कम है और प्राण शक्ति, ऊर्जा, वो भी कम है शरीर और मन में. Yeah. So there was this woodcutter. He used to come and cut wood. He got his job. So in the first month, he cut 15 trees. So the king was very happy. He said, good job. But second month, he could only cut maybe 12 trees. So he thought maybe he's tired. That is why it is happening. So he started taking good food. He started to sleep better. But third month, he could cut only 8 trees. And now he got frustrated. I'm putting in so much effort, so much hard work, but my productivity is only coming down. So one day the king comes and says, Kya hua bhai? What's happened? You're not able to produce, you're not able to work. He says, I don't know what is happening. I'm putting it 100% of my effort. I'm giving it the best shot. Yet I'm not able to perform to my optimum. Then the king says, okay, show me your axe, the tool through which, the weapon which was being used to cut the tree. Show me your axe. He said, oh, king says, here lies the problem. When was the last time you sharpened your axe? Yes? We can ask the same question to us. When was the last time we worked upon our, body, our mind, this entire complex? Isn't it? So it's very important if you have to live a life of happiness. See, in daily life, there are certain skills that you need. Sabse, the most important part, I feel, is the health. And a person who practices the path of, is walking on the path of yoga, will have a healthy body, and there'll be no doubt about it. Health is not, my guru says, health is not the mere absence of disease. Health is when every moment you can live your life with energy, with enthusiasm. Yes, with a smile on your face, even when the challenges are coming and hitting you like waves. Isn't it? And then also practicing the path of yoga, walking on the path of yoga and practicing all that Richaji just now mentioned in her presentation, the yamas, the niyamas, the personal disciplines, the social disciplines. We won't get into the details because the time is so short. The dhyan, the dharana, samadhi, everything put together, the pranayam, the pratyahara, all that practice when we put together, it's so scientifically done that it brings about a shift in our own mindset. We talked about para, pashyanti, all the different types of communication. How many people believe that we don't just communicate through words, there is more to communication? How many people believe that? हम सिर्फ अपने शब्दों से वार्तालाप नहीं करते, हम अपनी प्रेजेंस, हमारी मौजूदगी से भी वार्तालाप करते हैं. Even through the attitude, through our behavior, through the response that we give to people. There'll be a lot of students here, professors, engineers, highly intellectual. So you have to continuously present yourself, interact and communicate, right? Yes? Wouldn't you love it that if you could communicate the right thing at the right time? Yes? Life would be better. Better decision-making abilities, creativity, innovation, and also yoga brings about a change whereby you can become more intuitive. What is intuitive? The awakening of the sixth sense. We have 5 senses, right? Through the eyes we see, through the nose we smell, through the skin we touch, through the ears we can hear, through the tongue we taste. But there is a 6th sense, जिसको बोलते हैं ना gut feeling, है ना? Sometimes, you think that this is going to happen and it happens. That is intuition. And walking on the path of yoga brings about these wonderful qualities in our life, in our every layer of our existence. So without delay, I would request everyone to settle down, yeah? And we'll do a little desktop yoga wherever you are. बहुत देर से आप बैठे हैं. Will you do it with me? Yeah? So sit straight and just imagine that you have woken up. सुबह सुबह उठ के हम क्या करते हैं? अंगड़ाई लेते हैं. So do it, come on. Everyone. And bend to your right and left. Beautiful. And with a smile on your face. And now, you can just pull yourself from the base of the spine. अपनी रीढ़ की हड्डी को सीधा करें थोड़ा सा. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And come down. Okay? And we are sitting down for a long time. So the neck must be stiff, right? So we'll do a little neck movements. Breathe in, go back. Breathe out, chin to chest. I would request our guests also to ease out a little. Breathe in, go back. With the breath, yoga has to be performed with the breath. These exercises, the asanas. This is called asanas, a part of it. And relax. And then look to our extreme right, center, extreme left. Sab kare, students aap log kare. Right, left. Feel the stretch in your neck muscles. Very nice. And now what we are going to do is put both your hands on your shoulders and 360 degrees, let's rotate the shoulder joints. बहुत stiff हो जाता है ये. With a smile. That's important. So, please कीजिए ना, देखिए कैसा लगता है करके. Yeah? And opposite side. Wonderful. Wonderful. And relax. Something for the wrist. Okay, extend your wrist and just round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Something for your fingers. Stretch it completely as if someone is pulling. And then use this breath. And close it. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. And relax. थोड़ा हाथ को झटक दे, थोड़ा जोर से. And just feel your fingers are going to follow. Do it till your fingers follow. Don't worry, it won't fall. The body is very strong. Just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Yes, 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 yes. Come on. Little more, and stop. Stop. Can you feel anything in your hands, palms? What is it? This is our own energy. This is the prana shakti, the life force energy that is already there in us. जैसे तिल में तेल छिपा होता है, yes? वैसे ही ये शक्ति, this energy is within us. We just have to do a little bit of, follow this path of yoga and bring it out. Wonderful. And did you know, okay, we'll do something interesting, okay? Now, as you know that this brain is a very, very important part. Professor Bera, the way he presented, I was mesmerized. I was just looking at how deep he went, and it was relating to me, sir. It was so beautiful. So we'll do one small thing. So just interlace your finger, put it behind your head like this. Yeah. And then what we will do is, keeping the head straight, we will just move our eyeballs. Okay? Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and relax. That's it. Okay. And since we talk of meditation, dhyana, as a very important part of yoga, Ashtang yoga का एक बहुत बड़ा दाम, सब तो नहीं कर सकते, but just a glimpse. Are you all ready? Yes? So can we all sit with our eyes closed, आंखें बंद करके बैठे, रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधी रखे, दोनों हथेलियाँ, both your palms on your knees open towards the sky. Keep your palms open towards the sky, and let's all close our eyes. Sit easily and comfortably, and just observe the breath. पूरा ध्यान सांस पर. Like waves, it is rising and falling in a rhythmic manner. Just like there is a rhythm in nature, there is a rhythm in our mind, body, and breath. Become aware of that rhythm. Take another deep breath in And as you breathe out, relax the body completely. Relax the head, shoulders, relax the arms, relax the back and hips. Relax both your feet. Let go of all efforts and relax. The incoming breath energizes you, and the outgoing breath relaxes. Next few moments, a gentle reminder: I want nothing, I do nothing, and I am nothing. Just relax. Keep your eyes closed. Listen to all the sounds around you. The sound of the air conditioner, people talking outside. Accept all the sounds and become one with your environment. Breathe in. As you breathe out, relax more and more. Let's bring our attention to our body. This body is a precious gift given by nature. Let us honor it. Let us respect it. Let's take our attention to our right foot, right knee, right thigh and hip, and the whole of your right leg. Breathe in. As you breathe out, relax more and more. Vishram kare. Take your attention to your left foot, left knee, left thigh and hip, and the whole of your left leg. Breathe in, breathe out completely, relax. Bring your attention to your stomach, navel, chest, right shoulder and right arm, left shoulder, left arm, throat, gala, your face, top of the head, and the whole body. Bring your attention to the whole body. Whole body. Breathe in, and as you breathe out with a smile, relax more and more. Vishram kare. become aware of your thoughts, whether good or bad. Do not resist any thought. Let them come. Just become aware of them. Become aware of any emotions, whether pleasant or unpleasant. Do not resist any emotion. Let them be. You simply become aware and relax. You are joy. You are peace. Once again, become aware of your emotions. Once again, become aware of your thoughts. Once again, become aware of your body and surrounding. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu Niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take a joyful breath in and with a smile breathe out. And whenever you feel like taking your own time, whenever you feel complete, slowly and gradually, you may open your eyes. How is the mind? How are you? Yes? How many people are feeling relaxed? Yeah? Wow. And rejuvenated? This is the miracle of yoga, the path of yoga, the unity. So, with that, once again, I am so grateful and so thankful that you have invited me to this absolutely wonderful program. and that also on Yoga Day. I could do a little part, bit, whatever, to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed very relaxing session. Continuing our lineup of esteemed speakers, we will have Dr. Rajesh San enlightening us about yoga as an integral part of Ayurveda, unveiling the powerful connection between these ancient practices and their combined potential for holistic healing. Dr. Rajesh San.
मेरी वाली पेन ड्राइव लगे रहने दीजिए इसके ऊपर ना, क्योंकि उसके अंदर कुछ वीडियोस हैं तो हाँ थोड़ा सा अगर कुछ चाहेंगे लोग तो नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, रहने दीजिए, अगर नहीं चलेगा तो ठीक है. All the audience in this hall and dignitaries on the dais, first of all, I thank you, Director IIT, for inviting me in this celebration of International Yoga Day. And a number of speakers have spoken about yoga a lot. And I have been given this opportunity to share my knowledge about Ayurveda and yoga being an integral part of Ayurveda, how it is there. Will it be comfortable with you all if I speak Hindi and English mixed? Thank you. Because जो हमारे कुछ विचार हैं वो जितना हम अपनी हिंदी भाषा में एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं, कई बार हम इंग्लिश में उस चीज़ को ट्रांसलेट नहीं कर पाते हैं. सो विद दिस आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट माई टॉक. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव अ बिट नॉलेज अबाउट आयुर्वेदा? व्हाट इज आयुर्वेदा? डज एनीबॉडी नोज समथिंग? व्हाट इज आयुर्वेद? वेल, Ayurveda is made up of two words, the Ayu and Ved. Ayu is our life, our age, जो हम जिंदगी जीते हैं उसको हम लोग आयु कहते हैं, और उसके बारे में जो भी ज्ञान जिस भी ग्रंथ में मिलता है उसको हम आयुर्वेद कहते हैं. आयुर्वेद अपनी ज़िंदगी को 4 प्रकार की चीज़ों में बांटता है. दैट इज़ हितायु, विच इज़ फेवरेबल एज, अहितायु, विच इज़ अनफेवरेबल एज, Sukhayu, when we feel comfortable and joyful, and Dukhayu, when we are not feeling good or we are feeling depressed and not joyful at all. So, the Ved in which all the parameters and the dimensions about these 4 types of ages are mentioned, that is Ayurveda. So, Ayurveda basically deals with the health keeping, because the main objective of Ayurveda is swasthasya swasthya rakshanam aturasya vikar prashamnam. Means first objective of Ayurveda is to upkeep the health of the healthy, and the second objective becomes to treat the diseased person. So how the disease occurs in the body? The body is constituting these 3 parts. The dosh, there are 3 doshas in our body, the vat, the pit and the kapha. There are 7 dhatus in our body, which धातु is called धारणा धातु है, जो शरीर को धारण करते हैं उनको हम धातु कहते हैं. रस, रक्त, मांस, मेद, अस्थि, मज्जा, शुक्र, ये हमारी आयुर्वेद में धातुओं के बारे में बताया गया है. And the third is mal, which is to be excreted in the body, the metabolites that are created in the body after digestion of and metabolizing the various things. For example, when we digest our food, the fecal matter is generated, the urine is generated. So these type of things are called mal. So, to lead a healthy life, there are three pillars as well, which is mentioned in Ayurveda, that is Ahar, Nidra and Brahmacharya. So what is Ahar? The diet we take, it should be Satme. Satme, the word is coming, which is favorable and good for you people. For example, I belong to Punjab, and when I came to Himachal Pradesh 3 years ago, I was invited to Dham. But suddenly when I started taking Himachali food like that, I didn't feel good. My stomach got bad. But gradually, after practicing day by day, now my body is accepting the Dham treatment. Because the Himachali food is made with very oily substances. Ghee बहुत ज़्यादा होता है इसमें, which is not there. We use in Punjab. यहाँ पे डालडा घी काफ़ी यूज़ करते हैं, रिफाइंड काफ़ी यूज़ करते हैं, हम लोग देसी घी वगैरह ज़्यादा यूज़ करते हैं पंजाब में. तो मेरे कहने का मतलब है कि जो आहार हम हमारे शरीर के लिए साथ में है, वो हमें शरीर को निरोग रखता है. अगर आप किसी और चीज़ को खाना शुरू करते हैं, फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल अगर आप सिर्फ नूडल्स या मैगी ही खाना शुरू कर दें, या सिर्फ पिज़्ज़ा ही खाना शुरू कर दें, या एक ही तरह का कोई भी एक रस आहार लेना शुरू करते हैं, तो वो बॉडी के लिए साथ में नहीं रहता है, वो हमें रोगी करता ही करता है. So this is one of the biggest pillar in our healthy life. The second is Nidra. Good sleep is very essential for a healthy life. And the third is Brahmacharya. It is not just abstaining from sexual activities. It is to follow the disciplined life. As per age, whatever the works are assigned to you. For example, in younger age, you have to study, you have to follow the dharma. It is Brahmacharya. When you are in Grihastha ashram, you have to undergo with all these type of familial whereabouts, going for the good progeny, imparting them with good sanskaras. So this is also Brahmacharya. So these three things are very essential for human and society health. So what is रोग then? रोग क्या है? अगर हम ये सारा कुछ फॉलो करते हैं तो रोग नहीं होता है. तो बेसिकली रोग की डेफिनेशन आयुर्वेद में जो बताई गई है, दोष साम्यम अरोगता धातु दोष वैषम्यम. अब धातु की विषमता हम किसे कहते हैं? बेसिकली धातु आप सोचेंगे कि मैंने 7 प्रकार की धातुएं बताई हैं, लेकिन धातु में विषमता नहीं होती है. विषमता हमेशा दोषों में होती है. लेकिन जब दोष समावस्था में होते हैं, when they are in equilibrium, they help to maintain the body. That's why balanced doshas are also called as dhatu. So रोगस्तु दोष वैषम्यम दोष साम्यम अरोगता. दोषों की समावस्था ही अरोगता है और दोषों की विषमावस्था रोग है. और आयुर्वेद का मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? धातु साम्य क्रिया प्रयोगता तंत्र से प्रयोजनम. आयुर्वेद का मेन प्रयोजन क्या है कि धातुओं को दोष और धातुओं को समावस्था में रखना ही आयुर्वेद का मेन प्रयोजन है. सो व्हाट इज द कैटेगरी ऑफ द वेरियस रोगास? इट इज शारीरिक एंड मानसिक. And the second category is Nij and Agantuj. Sharirik, what are the body, injuries. And Mansik is the stress, the depression, उद्वेग इत्यादि, ये सारी मानसिक रोग कहे जाते हैं. निज मीन्स जो पहले दोषों की विषमता होती है, उसके बाद में रोग उत्पन्न होते हैं, वो दोषज रोग कहे जाते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल causing of fever and all these things. And Agantuj Rog is which are first manifested in the body, after that the dosha vitiations are there. For example, causing an injury or meeting with an accident. These type of rogas are called under Agantuj Roga, जो बाहर से आते हैं. Even infections, mosquito bites, dog bites, other insects bites, all these rogas when they are caused, they are called Agantuj Rogas. So I have actually explained the objective of Ayurveda is Dhatu Samyata and dosha equilibrium also made in the body, hence termed Dhatu. ये मैंने आपको पहले बताया था. अब आरोग्य हमारे लिए क्यों जरूरी है? There are 4 basic goals in our life: धर्म, अर्थ, काम और मोक्ष. तो धर्म क्या है? धारयते इति धर्म. जो हमारे करने लायक चीज़ें हैं उनको हम लोग धर्म कहते हैं. आज सभी हमारे स्पीकर्स ने बोला है कि योगा करना चाहिए, अच्छा रहना चाहिए, ऑल दिस थिंग्स. तो वट एवर वी डू टू अपकीप आवर हेल्थ, दैट इज धर्म. एंड शनिंग द थिंग्स विच आर नॉट गुड फॉर आवर हेल्थ, That is also dharma. When we follow dharma, then we go for earnings, अर्थ. अर्थ का मतलब सिर्फ पैसा कमाना नहीं है, ज्ञान अर्जन करना भी अर्थ के अंतर्गत आता है, दूसरों को ज्ञान देना भी अर्थ के अंतर्गत आता है. तदोपरांत काम, व्हेन यू आर इन गृहस्थाश्रम, मैंने पहले बोला था कि टू हैव ए गुड प्रोजेनी विद ऑल द डिसिप्लिन लाइफ इज आल्सो काम, एंड अल्टीमेटली मोक्ष मीन्स denouncing everything that you have. After completing the journey of your life, when you start dissociating with everything that you are feeling around, that is called moksha. So आयुर्वेद में एक और कंसेप्ट भी है, यत पिंडे तत् ब्रह्मांडे. जैसा आपको ब्रह्मांड में दिखता है वैसा ही आपके शरीर में होता है. इसका छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको दे दूं कि अगर बाहर, जैसे आजकल हम लोग सुन रहे हैं कि जी बाहर पूरा गुजरात से लेकर राजस्थान तक एक साइक्लोन आया हुआ है, तो झंझावात इसे कहते हैं हम लोग, ठीक है. तो अगर वैसी कंडीशन हमारे मन के अंदर होगी या हमारी बॉडी के अंदर होगी तो वो वैसा ही डिस्ट्रक्शन करेगा जैसा बाहर में आपको ये मिलता है. व्हेन यू आर बम्बार्डेड विद योर नेगेटिव थॉट्स, डिप्रेशन, थिंग्स लाइक दिस, यू आर डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू फॉल सिक. अभी मेरा साहब ने भी बताया था कि IIT स्टूडेंट्स वर हैविंग टेंडेंसी टू गो फॉर सुसाइडल टेंडेंसीज रहती हैं उसमें. दैट इज़ द बिगेस्ट डिस्ट्रक्शन टुवर्ड्स अवर सेल्फ. तो मन के जो 3 गुण बताए गए हैं, सत्व, रज और तम, तो जब हमारे पास तमस की अधिकता ज़्यादा हो जाती है बॉडी के अंदर, हम उसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते हैं, देन इट कॉजेज वायलेंस टू अवर सेल्फ एंड वी किल अवर सेल्फ. दैट इज सुसाइडल टेंडेंसीज. तो योगा इज द वेरी गुड टूल टू कंट्रोल रज एंड तम एंड बैलेंसिंग द सत्व इन अवर बॉडी. So now yoga, everybody has defined a lot about this. There are various definitions about yoga. That is, yujate iti yoga means union of the self with the supreme power is yoga. Second is yoga karamsu kaushalam. It has been detailed by our director sir how yoga karamsu kaushalam is there, why excelling in one's activity is called yoga. Now this was very much there. Can anybody give any example about yoga karamsu kaushalam, which is the commonest one? Anyone? कोई भी, किसी तरह का भी एग्जाम्पल. मेरे दिमाग में जो सबसे बढ़िया आता है कि किसी का भी कर्म कौशल कितना है वो योग के बराबर है. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट महाराणा प्रताप हु वाज ब्लाइंडेड बाय गौरी एंड ही किल्ड विद शब्द वेदी भान? एनीबॉडी लिसन दिस स्टोरी? सुना है ना? तो इसको हम क्या कहेंगे? योगा कर आदमी की सेंसेस नहीं है, बट जस्ट बाय सेंसिंग एंड इमेजिनिंग हिमसेल्फ, सी हाउ मच द पावर ऑफ माइंड इज देयर, दैट ही कुड वेरी वेल सी द पर्सन हु इज सिटिंग देयर एंड टारगेटेड हिम विद ए सिंगल एरो. इससे बढ़िया एग्जाम्पल आपको योगा कर्मसु कौशलम का कहीं नहीं मिलता है. तो हम जो सोचते हैं ना कि ये कई बार फिलोसफिकल बातें हैं, नहीं किसी के लिए होती हैं. इवन एक्सेलिंग, I can cite you one example. When I was studying in Moga, there is used to be, one is FSL, which is now called Nestle. So the FSL was Food Specialties Limited, and it deals with everyday dairy whitener and milk. जो ड्राई पाउडर्स बनाते थे उसके लिए इनके पास दूध आता था. तो वन ऑफ द BSc डेयरी पर्सन वाज देयर, एंड इसमें मैं आपको योगा कर्मसु कौशलम वाली बात बताता हूँ. ही यूज्ड टू जस्ट डिप हिज फिंगर, take out his finger out and used to write the fat content of that particular milk. And the truck was taken in. When that milk was tested on the laboratory equipments, the variation was hardly 0.5 to 1 unit only. So this is the various examples. When you start excelling in your own field, let it be any, it doesn't mean that you need to follow yoga, asana and all these things. Whatever your core competence is, when you start excelling in that, that is also योग. योगश्चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा, ये महाभाष्य में हमारे योग सूत्र में आचार्य पतंजलि द्वारा दी गई परिभाषा है, जैसा कि हमारे स्पीकर्स ने बताया. मैंने भी यहाँ पे बताया था कि हाउ विशिएटेड माइंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कॉजेज इल हेल्थ. नाउ in our brain, the thinking center is amygdala and hypothalamus. The diagram was shown by our director, the director also. So whenever thoughts go beyond our control, adrenocortical axis, it gets stimulated. Now what is adrenal gland? Adrenal glands are small glands which are available on the top of the kidneys of our body. Basically, adrenal glands secrete cortisols and adrenaline. And these are the hormones which are responsible for decreased digestion, increased blood pressure, increased glycogenesis from the liver, increased heart rate and all these things, because when the person comes in fight or flight mode, due to various thought processes, for example, phobia, किसी चीज़ से आपको डर लगता है, और फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कहीं लड़ाई में जाना है या आपको लग रहा है कि यार सामने कोई आ गया मारने के लिए, तो उसके लिए आपकी बॉडी तैयार होती है, या तो वहाँ से भागेंगे आप सामने कुत्ता आ गया उससे और वो भौंक रहा है और लग रहा है आपको काटेगा, तो आपकी बॉडी तैयार करती है कि या तो आप कुत्ते को मारेंगे या फिर वहाँ से भागेंगे अपने आप को बचाने के लिए. एंड इन बोथ द कंडीशंस व्हाट यू नीड हाई constituents of fuel in your body which can burn and give you energy, and constituent that fuel is nothing but glucose. So that's why liver causes glucogenesis and the blood sugar level rises in our bloodstream. This is also very much proven when just before the race, when the athletes are get tested, their sugar content in their blood was quite high. It was more than 200 plus. So this is not pathological at all. तो हम जो आप बात करते हैं ना कि जी हम लोग डायबिटिक होते जा रहे हैं, ये डायबिटिक नहीं है. It is our mind condition that everybody of us is under stress. Everybody of us is having some apprehensions in our mind. For that reason, our blood system has the sugar level of about 110, 120, 130, 135, up to 140 even. But the medical science says that unless you pass blood in your urine, you are not diabetic. And that urine passage, glucose in the urine passage comes when the sugar level in our blood crosses 180 milligrams. So if the blood sugar level is below 180 milligrams, you should not take yourself as diabetic, but it is the hyperglycemic conditions, and that hyperglycemic conditions is most of the time physiological in nature, and that physiology means वो शरीर क्रियात्मक है, वो आपकी माइंड सेट की वजह से है. अगर आप अपने माइंड को योगा द्वारा अपने थॉट्स को कंट्रोल कर लेते हैं तो बॉडी के अंदर वो शुगर लेवल अपने आप डाउन होना शुरू हो जाता है. मोस्ट ऑफ यू पीपल, इफ़ यू हैव अटेंडेड दिस ट्रांसेंडेंटल मेडिटेशन और लाइफस्टाइल कैंप्स एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स, it is proven that the persons who are having hyperglycemic conditions, when they go in that particular area, the blood sugar level goes down without any medicine. Why? Because the thoughts over there are controlled. You are not apprehensive. Similarly, जिसको हम शमशान बैराक कहते हैं, when you go to the cremation ground, what do you think? यार कुछ नहीं है, जिंदगी कुछ नहीं है, ये सब बेकार है, ये बंदा इतना कमाता था, सब छोड़ गया, हमने भी यहीं छोड़ के जाना है. But as soon as we come out of that particular cremation area, again we are in our same surroundings. अबे मेरे स्कूटर को कौन मार गया, अबे मेरे जूते किसने उठा लिए. तो वो जो हमारी टेंडेंसीज रहती हैं, हमारे थॉट्स रहते हैं, वो हमारे बॉडी के अंदर बायोकेमिस्ट्री को बहुत जल्दी डिस्टर्ब करते हैं. दैट इज़ वेल प्रूवन. सो इसीलिए उन चीज़ों को कंट्रोल करने के लिए अष्टांग सूत्र का अष्टांग जिसे कहते हैं योग का वर्णन किया गया है महर्षि पतंजलि द्वारा. वो 8 अंग जो हैं, दैट इज़ यम विच इज़ द एक्सटर्नल डिसिप्लिन, नियम विच इज़ सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन, आसन, प्राणायाम. अप टू प्राणायाम वट एवर वी डू, इट इज़ फॉर अवर बॉडी. देन प्रत्याहार, धारणा, दीज आर माइंड एक्टिविटीज़. Dhyan and Samadhi, it is spiritual and above all. So I will be concentrating only up to pranayam because my motive is to deal with only body health itself only. So there are 5 yamas are ahimsa, that is non-violence, satya, सच बोलना, truthfulness, honesty, अस्तेय, चोरी ना करना, झूठ ना बोलना, ब्रह्मचर्य, to lead the disciplined life, and अपरिग्रह, ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा चीज़ों का संग्रह ना करना. अगर आप ये प्रैक्टिसेस करना शुरू करते हैं तो मोस्ट ऑफ आवर विशेषन्स ऑफ आवर माइंड दे आर कंट्रोल्ड. सिमिलरली ओके, सिमिलरली देर आर 5 नियमास. अभी मैं अगर यम की बात करूं, अपना यम की बात करूं, तो मैं एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल आपको बताता हूं कि जब आप ये प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू करते हैं एंड इफ यू हैव सम टारगेटेड जॉब इन योर वर्क प्लेस कि आपको ये प्रोजेक्ट या ये रिपोर्ट इतनी देर में तैयार करके देनी है, आप अगर ये यम फॉलो नहीं करते हैं, वी स्टार्ट डिलेइंग, कोई बात नहीं कर देंगे यार, अभी तो टाइम पड़ा है, कल परसों देनी है प्रेजेंटेशन यार, कोई बात नहीं कर देते हैं, और धीरे धीरे आपके ये माइंड से निकल जाता है. यू स्टॉप मैनेजिंग योर टाइम एंड व्हेन द बॉस इज देयर एंड आपको लगता है यार अभी अगले घंटे में बॉस को ये प्रेजेंटेशन देनी है, देन स्ट्रेस फॉल्स इन, एंग्जाइटी फॉल्स इन एंड ऑल योर हाइपोथैलेमिक एडिनोकॉर्टिकल एक्सिस गेट्स एक्साइटेड, और जितना आपका एंडोक्राइन सिस्टम है सारा डिस्टर्ब होना शुरू हो जाता है. लेकिन अगर हम ये यमाज अपने नियम जिंदगी में फॉलो करना शुरू कर देते हैं, वी स्टार्ट डूइंग टाइम मैनेजमेंट्स, वी बिकम ऑनेस्ट, वी स्टॉप मेकिंग एक्सक्यूजेस के साथ बॉस इसलिए ये काम नहीं हुआ या इसलिए ये काम नहीं हुआ. तो दीज आर वेरी एसेंशियल. द फर्स्ट स्टेप इन डूइंग योगा, अनलेस यू डू इट, you keep on doing any asana, you cannot do even pranayam, dharana, dhyan, samadhi because your mind keep on wandering. तो जब तक आप अपने माइंड को कंट्रोल करना शुरू नहीं करेंगे, उसके लिए फर्स्ट स्टेप हमारे ये 5 हैं. सॉरी. सो नेक्स्ट इज नियम, इट इज शौच. शौच मीन्स सफाई रखना, बाह्य भी अभ्यंतर भी. तो शरीर में आप ऐसा कुछ मत डालिए जो आपके शरीर के अंदर नुकसान पैदा करे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्मोकिंग, taking extra alcohol, doing using drugs etc., which are not good for our health. Despite knowing this, when we keep on doing it, definitely we are going to harm ourselves. तो ये शौच के अंतर्गत नहीं आता है. तो इन चीज़ों से अपने आप को एब्सटेन करना शौच के अंतर्गत आता है. संतोष, कंटेंटमेंट, हमारे पास जो है उसके अंदर अपने आप को संतुष्ट रखना, ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा चीज़ें इकट्ठी ना करना. अरे यार उसके पास इतनी बढ़िया गाड़ी है, मेरे पास भी वैसी गाड़ी होनी चाहिए, इस तरह की सोचों से दूर रखना, वो संतोष के अंतर्गत आता है. अपने आप को कंटेंटेड रखना. देन इज तप. तप मीन्स एक्सेलिंग इन योर ओन फील्ड, अपनी कोर कॉम्पिटेंस को पहचानना और उसके अंदर अपने आप को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए काम करते रहना, वही तप है. स्वाध्याय, अपने आप को अपने बारे में सोचते रहना, आत्मचिंतन करना कि मैं क्या हूँ, कैसा हूँ और अपने आप को सही कैसे कर सकता हूँ. मेन मोटिव शुड बी नॉट टू हार्म अदर्स, दूसरों को दुख कैसे नहीं पहुँचा सकता, इसके बारे में जब आप आत्मचिंतन करते हैं तो ये इस पर्टिकुलर नियम के अंतर्गत आता है. लास्ट इज ईश्वर प्रणिधान. ईश्वर प्रणिधान मीन्स वट एवर यू डू विद द विल ऑफ द सुप्रीम पावर, द गॉड. जब आप ये मान के चलते हैं अगर आपसे वो काम नहीं होता है तो यू डोंट गेट स्ट्रेस्ड इवन. पहले हमारे जो इतने बुजुर्ग थे वो ईश्वर इच्छा मान लेते थे, यार चलो रब दा पाना है, कोई नहीं हो गया ठीक है, एंड दे यूज्ड टू फॉरगेट. नाउ वी आर जस्ट फॉरगेटिंग दीज पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स. अगर हमारा कुछ नुकसान हो जाता है हम उसके बारे में बार बार सोचते रहते हैं और अपने आप को दुखी करते रहते हैं, जबकि उस दुख से उस हुए हुए नुकसान का कोई भरपाई नहीं होती. तो ईश्वर प्रणिधान अगर आप अपने आप में लेके आते हैं कि यार चलो भगवान की इच्छा थी, नहीं हुआ, कोई बात नहीं है. आप खाना खाने के लिए बैठे हैं लेकिन खाने के अंदर कीड़ा गिर गया, आपने नहीं खाना, चलो यार ईश्वर की इच्छा, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है. बनिस्बत इसके कि आप जिसने खाना परोसा है उसको गालियाँ निकालना शुरू कर दो, भाई ये क्या डाल दिया इसके अंदर, साले तेरे को कीड़ा नहीं दिखा इसके अंदर. तो इस तरह की जो एक्टिविटीज़ हमारे बॉडी के अंदर आती हैं, दे आर गोइंग टू डिस्टर्ब अवर माइंड, अवर थॉट प्रोसेस एंड अल्टीमेटली अवर इंटरनल एनवायरनमेंट एज वेल. तो जैसे बाहर झंझावात हमें देखते ही नुकसान करता है, वैसे ही वो अंदर के झंझावात हमारी बॉडी को नुकसान करने वाले होते हैं. आसन के बारे में बहुत कुछ बोला गया है, तो इसका मैं बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूँगा. इसकी डेफिनेशन है स्थिरम सुखम आसनम. अपने किसी भी पोस्चर में अगर आप बैठते हैं उसके अंदर स्थिरता लाते हुए अगर आपको सुख का अनुभव होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप लोग चौकड़ी मार के बैठ सकते हैं, यू कैन क्रॉस योर लेग्स मोर फॉर द टाइम देन इफ आई से यू शुड सिट इन पद्मासना, राइट. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके अंदर आपको सुख का अनुभव नहीं होता है। इसी प्रकार से वज्रासन में आप इजीली बैठ सकते हैं, लेकिन बोलूँ कि जी उष्ट्रासन के अंदर बैठ के दिखाओ, यू कांट प्रैक्टिस मच। लेकिन जब हम इनकी बार बार प्रैक्टिस करते रहते हैं, हमारी बॉडी को कंडीशन करते रहते हैं, अब उसके बाद में सबने बताया कि धारणा ध्यान जो ही है, अब लोग घंटों एक आसन में बैठ करके ध्यान कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आपने आसन की प्रैक्टिस नहीं की है तब तक आप उतनी देर के लिए ना ध्यान लगा सकते हैं, ना समाधि के अंदर जा सकते हैं। तो इसलिए आसन की प्रैक्टिस इसलिए ज़रूरी है टू कंडीशन योर बॉडी, टू मेक योर बॉडी स्ट्रॉन्ग एनफ। इफ़ यू आर कीपिंग योर बॉडी, अब जितने भी मुश्किल आसन है जैसे मयूर आसन है, यू कैंट बी देयर फॉर मच। लेकिन अगर आप यूट्यूब पे वीडियोस देखें कि जो लोग पुशअप्स करते हैं ऊपर जा करके, उनके कितने स्ट्रॉन्ग उनकी बॉडीज़ हो जाती हैं, वो लगातार कर सकते हैं। इसी तरह डांसिंग पोस्चर्स हैं, जो लोग डांस की प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, भरतनाट्यम हो गया, कुचिपुड़ी हो गया, जो लोग इसके अंदर पारंगत होते चले जाते हैं, बार बार प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, दे कैन डू इट फॉर आवर्स टुगेदर। और हम लोगों को कहीं करना पड़े, वी कैन डू मोर देन 10 और 20 मिनट्स, इजंट इट? सो किसी भी पोस्चर में अपने आप की सुख अनुभूति करना, बहुत देर तक बैठे हुए, आप चेयर पे बैठना शुरू कर चुके हैं, लेकिन उससे हमारी बॉडी के अंदर क्या चेंजेस आ रहे हैं वो मैं आगे थोड़ा डिस्कस करूंगा आपसे। So asanas has medical benefits also. It helps in strengthening and relaxing our body. We have all experienced that. Our previous speaker has made you do all type of sitting exercises on the chair and made your body relax. I won't emphasize much on that. So the categories of these asanas can be categorized into standing postures, sitting postures and lying postures. Further, the benefits is the flexibility of the strong body, the stable mind, as well as peacefulness. So the best asana that you can do is Surya Namaskar. And if permits, I can show you a 2 minutes video. Now, in this particular diagram, if you see, there are green arrows, which is meant for inhaling, and there are yellow arrows that cause exhaling. तो जो भी posture आप करते हैं उसके अंदर, जैसे जितना भी आपकी बॉडी को जब आप एक्सपैंड करते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल पीछे बेंड करते हैं, तो यू हैव टू इनहेल। लेकिन जब भी बॉडी को आप इकट्ठा करते हैं, कॉन्स्ट्रिक्ट करते हैं, तब आपको एक्सहेल करना होता है। फॉरवर्ड बेंडिंग ऑलवेज कॉज एक्सहेलिंग, एंड व्हेन यू आर बेंडिंग बैकवर्ड्स द एयर गोज इन एंड दैट इज इनहेलिंग। सो
अपने पैरों को साथ रखकर सीधे खड़े हो जाएं। अपनी आंखें बंद और मन शांत रखें। हाथों को सीधे ऊपर उठाते हुए अपने शरीर को पीछे की तरफ
दिस इज द सूर्य नमस्कार दैट यू कैन सी।
आगे की तरफ झुके। अपने हाथों से पैरों को पकड़ें। अपनी नाक से घुटनों को छूने की कोशिश करें। अपने हाथों को जमीन पर रखें, पैरों के पास। बाएं पैर को मोड़ते हुए दाएं पैर को पीछे की तरफ ले जाएं। अपना शरीर पीछे की तरफ झुकाएं। अपने हाथों को जमीन पर रखते हुए सीधा पैर पीछे की तरफ मोड़ें। दोनों पैरों को साथ में लाकर अपना वजन हाथ और पैरों पर रखें। पैरों को मोड़कर अपनी नाक से घुटनों को छूने की कोशिश करें। अपने ऊपरी शरीर को आगे की तरफ झुकाकर चिन को जमीन पर रखें, हाथों के बीच। अपने ऊपरी शरीर को आगे की तरफ झुकाकर ऊपर की तरफ ले जाएं और अपना वजन अपने हाथों पर रखें। ऊपरी शरीर को पीछे की तरफ मोड़ें। अपने शरीर का भार अपने हाथों और पैरों पर रखें और अपने शरीर को अंदर की तरफ झुकाएं। दाएं पैर को आगे लाते हुए अपना ऊपरी शरीर पीछे की तरफ मोड़ें। शरीर का भार दाएं पैर पर रखें। दोनों पैरों को साथ में लाएं। पैरों को हाथों से पकड़ते हुए अपने नाक से घुटनों को छूने की कोशिश करें। सीधे खड़े हो जाएं। अपने हाथों को ऊपर की तरफ ले जाएं और ऊपरी शरीर पीछे की तरफ मोड़ें। वापस पहली पोजीशन में आ जाएं।
सो दिस इज द सूर्य नमस्कार, जो हम बड़े इजीली कर सकते हैं. So, what are the various medical benefits of yoga? The yoga improves the strength and balance and flexibility in our body. Yoga helps in relief of our back pain. Most of the persons who are in the sitting occupations, their backs get very weak, क्योंकि हम लोग एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो अगर योगा करते हैं तो आपकी बैक को भी स्ट्रेंथन करता है और वहाँ की पेन को रिलीव करता है. इट कैन ईज आर्थराइटिस. आप जितने भी हमारे आसन कहे गए हैं उसके अंदर हम अपने सभी संधियों का योग करते हैं. जैसे घुटने हो गया, स्क्वाटिंग पोस्चर के अंदर हो गया, पीछे बैठना है, देन चक्रासन के अंदर हम लोगों ने, सेतुबंद आसन के अंदर हम लोगों ने बैक को ऊपर उठाया. ये सब जो आसन हमने सुबह आज मिनिमल योगा प्रोग्राम में किए थे, तो उसके अंदर हम लोगों ने काफ़ी हद तक अपने इन करने से हमारी आर्थराइटिस को ठीक हो सकता है. हार्ट की हेल्थ को बड़ा इजीली कर सकते हैं. जितने भी हमारे प्राणायाम है, जैसे शीतकारी प्राणायाम सुबह किया था या भ्रामरी प्राणायाम किया था, वो हमारे हार्ट की एक्टिविटीज़ को बड़ा हेल्दी कर देता है. योगा रिलैक्सेस द बॉडी एंड हेल्प्स यू स्लीप बेटर. मैंने अभी बताया था कि हमारे स्वास्थ्य के जो 3 उपस्तंभ है उसके अंदर स्लीप एक मेजर उपस्तंभ है. तो अच्छी स्लीप के लिए भी योगा हेल्प करता है. योगा गिव्स यू मोर एनर्जी एंड ब्राइटर मूड्स. आप खुश अपने आप को महसूस करते हैं. जो सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट हमारे योगासन करने के बाद में हमारी बॉडी के अंदर आती है, एंडोर्फिन्स हमारे बॉडी के अंदर सीक्रेट होते हैं, वो हैप्पी हार्मोन्स हम उनको कहते हैं. वो बॉडी को अच्छा और हेल्दी फील करने में हेल्प करते हैं. इट हेल्प्स इन मैनेजिंग स्ट्रेस एज वेल. तो जितना भी हमारा माइंड स्ट्रांग होगा उसकी हम थॉट्स कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, तो उसके साथ ही हम अपना स्ट्रेस भी कंट्रोल कर लेते हैं. इट कनेक्ट्स अस विद अवर सुप्रीम पावर, जिसके साथ हम अपना यूनियन करना चाहते हैं, हमारी अपनी सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन के द्वारा सुप्रीम पावर के साथ, उसको हम लोग योगा के थ्रू कर सकते हैं. बेटर सेल्फ केयर, अपनी आपको ख्याल रखना, वो भी योगा के द्वारा हम लोग कर सकते हैं. इट हैज़ बीन वेरी वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड बाई प्रीवियस स्पीकर्स एज वेल. सो द प्राणायाम, इट इज़ द मेन प्राण में एनर्जी एंड उसका नियमन करना, उसको नियंत्रित करना प्राणायाम के अंतर्गत आता है. आज हमने सुबह अनुलोम विलोम, कुंभिक प्राणायाम, नाड़ी शोधन प्राणायाम, शीतकारी, भ्रामरी इत्यादि सारे प्राणायाम किए थे. अल्टीमेटली दीज हेल्प इन कंट्रोलिंग अवर माइंड एंड controlling our thoughts and ultimately controlling and keeping our endocrine system quite healthy. Now this is another video when we are, बल्कि जितने भी हमारे ऑक्यूपेशनल लोग हैं जो ज़्यादा वर्क स्टेशन पे अपने बैठे रहते हैं, उनके लिए छोटा सा एक 2 मिनट का योगा ब्रेक है. उसका एक वीडियो जो इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ योगा एंड नेचुरोपैथी ने, मोरारजी देसाई इंस्टीट्यूट ने डेवलप किया है, वो आपको मैं शेयर करता हूँ. There is no voice in this actually. Can I put my Anyways, this we have already practiced. तो अगर आप इसको देख लेते हैं, मैं ये आपके साथ शेयर भी कर देता हूँ जितना भी है. इट्स ए ऑन ए वर्क स्टेशन, विद इन 2 minutes यू कैन रिलैक्स योर बॉडी लाइक दिस. We all have done this, isn't it? However, this speaker has made you do all these things. तान मंडूकासन, ये भी आज हमने प्रैक्टिस किया था मिनिमल योगा प्रोग्राम के अंदर, इजंट इट? अर्ध चक्रासन, बैकवर्ड बेंडिंग, ये जो शशांक आसन हम लोगों ने किया था वज्रासन में बैठ के, इसको आप टेबल के ऊपर भी कर सकते हैं। ये आपकी बैक बोन को स्ट्रेच करने में हेल्प करता है आगे की तरफ। देन रोटेशन, कटी चक्रासन, ये चेयर की हेल्प के, चेयर को सहारा लेते हुए अगर आप घूम सकते हैं अपना, तो बैक बोन को ही रिलैक्स करने में बहुत हेल्प करता है ये। मैडम ने ये सारा करवाया था हम सबसे सिर्फ इसमें कड़ी चक्रासन मैडम ने नहीं करवाया था, पीछे बैठ के बाकी सारा कुछ मैडम ने करवाया था। सो दिस इज़ द योगा ब्रेक दैट यू कैन कीप योर सेल्फ हेल्दी। एंड जो लोग सिटिंग पे ज़्यादा काम करते हैं सभी को पता है, उनको लंबैगो अल्टीमेटली डिस्क प्रोलैप्स वगैरह की सबकी प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो जाती हैं। तो उन चीज़ों को ठीक रखने के लिए इस प्रकार से अगर आप हर आधे पौने घंटे में 1 घंटे में इस तरह के 1-2 मिनट का योगा ब्रेक लेते हैं तो आपकी बॉडी के ऊपर जो है इसके हेल्दी इफेक्ट्स आते हैं, और जो सिटिंग ज़्यादा कंटिन्यूस करने से जो नुकसान होता है बॉडी को, उससे हम लोग बच पाते हैं। आई विल नॉट टच दिस प्रत्याहार बिकॉज इट इज़ समथिंग टू डू विद द माइंड। सो द कॉमन प्रैक्टिस जो आप लोग कर सकते हैं अपनी बॉडी को हेल्थ करने के लिए, दिस इज़ द स्क्वाटिंग पोस्चर। हम लोग पहले अपना मल त्याग करने के लिए इस पोस्चर में बैठते थे, जिसको हम धीरे धीरे छोड़ते जा रहे हैं, लेकिन ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हमें सिर्फ मलत्याग के समय बैठना चाहिए। आज भी वैसे जनरली फॉरेन के अंदर जितने भी हैं जो इंग्लिश सीट्स हैं, उसके साथ वो आजकल एक वो थोड़ा ऊंचा पटला भी रखते हैं जिसके ऊपर रख के वो इस पोस्चर में बैठ सकते हैं, जिससे मलत्याग में भी आसानी होती है। लेकिन उससे भी ज़्यादा हमारे हिप जॉइंट की फ्लेक्शन, घुटने की फ्लेक्शन, उसकी एक्सटर्नल रोटेशन, बैक को सीधा रखना, बैक को पीछे की तरफ जाना और आगे की तरफ जाना, और हमारे शोल्डर्स का, बिकॉज वो हम घुटने के ऊपर रखते हैं, तो ये एक आसन है जिसको अगर आप 2 से 3 मिनट तक करते हैं तो ये आपकी बॉडी को, आपकी ग्लूटियस मसल्स को, आपकी बैक को इतना स्ट्रेंथन करता है, जिसको हम लोग जनरली स्क्वाटिंग पोस्चर, हाफ स्क्वाटिंग पोस्चर भी कहते हैं। इसको हम लोग बड़ा इजीली कर सकते हैं, तो प्रैक्टिस में लाना चाहिए। सेकंड इज सुखासन, सिटिंग विद द क्रॉस लेग्स, पालथी मार करके बैठना, तो इसके लिए राइट व्यू पर कर सकते हैं। सेकंड इज अर्ध पद्मासन, इसके अंदर आप राइट लेग भी टॉप पे रख सकते हैं या लेफ्ट लेग भी टॉप पे रख सकते हैं। तो इस आसन में बैठ के जनरली हम लोग खाना खाया करते थे पहले, आज हम लोग छोड़ चुके हैं ये सारा कुछ, लेकिन इस प्रकार से बैठ के खाना खाने में जो डाइजेशन हमारा इंक्रीज़ होता था और जिसको हेल्प करते थे खाने के बाद में अच्छी तरह से हमारे को नींद आती थी। तो अगर हम इसको धीरे धीरे प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, ठीक है खाना खाते हुए नहीं भी करना है, एटलीस्ट अगर आप दिन में 2-4 मिनट, 5 मिनट, 10 मिनट तक इस आसन में बैठना शुरू करते हैं योगा करते हुए, उसके साथ प्राणायाम करेंगे, तो ये आपकी बॉडी को हेल्प करता है ठीक रखने में। अनदर दिस इज़ वज्रासन, इसका सभी जानते हैं कि ये पाचन शक्ति के बाद, एंड दिस इज़ द ओनली आसन दैट यू कैन डू आफ्टर टेकिंग द मील्स। खाना खाने के बाद में अगर कोई आसन कर सकते हैं तो ये वज्रासन है, जिसके अंदर बैठते हैं तो हमारी बॉडी के स्ट्रेंथन के साथ साथ ये डाइजेशन को भी बड़ा इंप्रूव करता है, ब्लड सर्कुलेशन इंप्रूव हो जाती है, और हमारा पोस्चर भी इंप्रूव हो सकता है। थैंक यू वेरी मच। सो इफ एनी क्वेश्चंस आर देयर, एनीबॉडी कैन आस्क एनी क्वेश्चन इफ यू हैव समथिंग इन योर माइंड। थैंक यू ऑल।
Thank you, sir. Very, very deep and insightful session. Thank you. We will now have the pleasure of listening to Dr. Subrokamal Datta, who will shed light on the topic spreading universal brotherhood and love through yoga, emphasizing how yoga can transcend boundaries, foster unity, and cultivate love among all beings. Dr. Subrokamal Datta.
नमस्कार आदरणीय प्रेमवत जी, my very dear friend Lakshmi Vera ji, and other distinguished panelists on the dais, lovely faculty members, and my dear friends. Today is the International Yoga Day. 180 countries are performing yoga in the United Nations under the guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Why this has been possible? This has been possible because India is a country of ancient knowledge, ancient universal love, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं, एन एंशिएंट ब्रदरहुड. और शायद ये भारत के लिए ही संभव था कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पटल पे इंटरनेशनल योगा डे भी मनाया जाए और उसके साथ साथ संयुक्त राष्ट्र जो अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पटल का एक केंद्र है वहाँ पे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योगा भी मनाया जाए. आई स्टार्ट विथ अ वेरी डिवाइन श्लोका dedicated to Ma Saraswati. Saraswati Mahabhage, and I will explain it in English. Saraswati Mahabhage, Goddess Saraswati means the Mahabhagya. Vidya Kamalanochane, Vidya means knowledge, Kamalanochane, Kamal. Through your internal power, you can see this internal and eternal might of knowledge. Vidya Rupe Vishalakhi, Vidya Rupe, again the goddess of Vidya, Vishalakhi, the eternal and the internal eye of yours gives you that power to see that divine knowledge and feel that divine prem or that divine love inside you, the divinity of brotherhood inside you. Vidya Rupe Vishalakhi, Vidyadhari Namostute. Because she is the goddess which gives you the essence of eternal love and the essence of eternal knowledge. That's the reason she is the goddess of knowledge. Vidya Rupe Vishalakhi, Vidyadhari Namostute. Professor Lakshmidhar ji has quoted many shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. What greater a philosophy than Bhagavad Gita? And I quote from Einstein, the great scientist of the world. When he had given to the whole world the cosmic notion of the Big Bang Theory, and when there was a press conference going on in London, the great scientist was asked by the Western media personalities, from where did you get this knowledge, or from where did you enhance this knowledge? You know what was his reply? His reply was in 2 sentences or in 2 words. The first was Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and the second was yoga. So the people in the West, they were tempted to ask him, how is this possible? Because that time colonialism was at its peak days or at its heydays. So it was very difficult for Western civilization to accept this. Einstein said, in Bhagavad Gita, I saw the Big Bang Theory. When the Virat Roop of Lord Krishna as Mahayogi or Mahavishnu, when Arjun was very reluctant to fight the Mahabharata war, and when Lord Krishna showed his cosmic self, or the Mahayogi self, in that Mahayogi self, everything was depicted. Everything was depicted about life, about the essence of life. What is life all about? Where we come from and where we go. So the notion of pulsars, the notion of quasars, the notion of matter, the notion of antimatter, the notion of the Big Bang theory, or the notion of the, of the black hole and the white hole, everything was shown in that Virat Roop of Lord Krishna when he showed to the whole universe that मुझ में ही समाया है सारा कुछ और मुझसे ही उत्पत्ति होती है इस पूरा ब्रह्मांड का. So that cosmic mind or that cosmic self, Arjuna could grasp that because he went through the meditative mind, which we call the ultimate simulation or the ultimate connectivity of the conscious mind with the subconscious mind. And that we do it through yoga or through telepathy. And that is possible only when you are a practicing yogi yourself. You can see that cosmic self or that cosmic mind, and you can feel that. In ancient Indian knowledge system, we have different Muladhar chakras. There are several chakras starting from your feet right up to here. Here is the Brahma chakra. So when you meditate, and especially if you meditate during the time of the Brahm Muhurat, I always do that myself. I have been meditating from the age of 2.5 years. I was inspired to do this by my mother. So when you meditate, with a gradual process, this whole Muladhar chakra gets emancipated, or it opens up. And ultimately, it is the Brahma chakra, or the third eye, which we call. Now, when that gets emancipated, you actually understand what you are and where you go and where we come from. And that's the reason in Shiv Puran, the Rishi Bhrigu, about whom you mentioned, says, Sattam Shivam Sundaram. Sattam means the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth of knowledge is Sattam. The actual truth or the truthful knowledge is Sattam, which is so blissful, which is so beautiful, which is so deified, and which is so divine. That's the reason it is called Shivam. So the ultimate truth, which is blissful, is Shivam. And because it is blissful, because it is so cosmic, it is so powerful, it is so radiating, that's the reason it is Sundaram. Sundaram, or the internal wealth, or the eternal wealth. And that's the reason in Devi Puran we have Ya Devi Sharva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupe Namastita Namastashvai 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sharva Bhuteshu Vidya Rupe Namastita Namastashvai 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sharva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupe Namastita Namastashvai 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 Namo Namaha. Out here, Shakti means the internal power, the power inside you. That is Shakti. Lakshmi out here means the internal wealth, the wealth which is inside you, not the monetary wealth which we quantify in terms of money. The internal wealth which is inside you, that is Vaibhav Lakshmi, or that is Lakshmi Rupe Namastita. And how we understand this? We understand this through Vidya, or through knowledge. It is Vidya, Shakti and Lakshmi, which is a combination which makes in the Mahamaya or the Yog Maya. And that's the reason in Shakti Puran, if you have to control your Maya, or if you have to control your Tamasic Gun or your Rajasic Gun, then you have to do that through the through the notion of knowledge through yoga, and that's the reason Mahamaya comes in, and Mahamaya actually eradicates the Maya inside you, the Maya of lust, the Maya of the Maya of getting more and more things, the Maya of hatred, the Maya of animosity, the Maya of taking everything for yourself. All this Maya, one by one, it gets destroyed or it gets emancipated through Yog Maya. And how this happens? It happens through the opening up of the Muladhara chakra of yours. So that is where the essence of India lies. That is where the essence of ancient Indian knowledge system lies. This is something which we need to emancipate, or this is something which we need to give it to back to the whole world once again today. If I go to Devi Puran, there is a shlok where it is described, Sahasra Shastra Hare Devi Narayani Namostute, which means in this 1,000 hands of yours, O the goddess of knowledge, O the goddess of eternal might, O the goddess of eternal wealth, you have the 1,000 book of knowledge. Sahasra Shastra Hare Devi Narayani Namostute. Through that you show the whole world the eternal knowledge of love, the eternal knowledge of tranquility, the eternal knowledge of sublimity as such. And that's the reason you are Sahasra Shastra Hare Devi Narayani Namostute. If I go to Kalika Puran, in Kalika Puran, again it is said, Namostute. Here it is Brahmani Namostute. Brahmani comes from the ultimate world called Brahm. Brahm, which means the cosmic world. Brahm, which means the celestial world. Brahm, which means the ultimate, connectivity of the soul with the supreme soul. And that's the reason she is Brahmani. Hare Devi Brahmani Namostute. Then comes in Shristi Stute Vinashini Narayani Namostute. Mahayoge when the world is attacked by the tamasic forces, then she comes with that might to protect the whole world from this tamasic vices. जब चरम सीमा पे vices हो जाती है, जब चरम सीमा पे आगुन फैल जाता है गुण के जगह पे, तो then the goddess of knowledge or the goddess of eternal power, she comes with that might to give in a kind of a proper direction to the whole world. And how she comes? She comes in the Rupa of Maheshwari, or the concept of Lord Shiva. And then comes in, Gunomay, Yogmay, Yogashray, Maheshwari Namostute. So she comes as Narayani to show the whole world that what is correct and what is self-righteousness, and how we need to go back to the world of self-righteousness. Once that happens, then we are again in the state of bliss, or we are again in the state of Shivam, or Satyam, or Sundaram. And she teaches this to the whole world in the form of Maheshwari, or in the form of Lord Shiva as such, So something which is imbibed in our ancient knowledge system, something which is there in our culture, in our philosophy, in our ethos, we have forgotten that today. It is a sad irony that today the whole Western world is actually inculcating all this knowledge which is there in the Upanishads, which is there in the Shastras, and which is there in the Vedas, and they are marketing this to the whole world as something which is of their own. Why? क्योंकि हम लोग तो एक निद्रा में चले गए ना, वो निद्रा जिसको हम लोग कुंभकर्ण की निद्रा कहते हैं, उस पे चले गए, और इसीलिए आज पश्चिम ने हमारे सारे चीजों को पूरे दुनिया में अपने हिसाब से वो लोग मार्केटिंग कर रहे हैं. ये दुख की बात है, एंड दैट्स द आयरनी व्हाई taekwondo, which originated in Manipur, has been patented by Japan. Haldi and Neem has been patented by United States of America. इससे ज़्यादा दुर्भाग्य क्या हो सकता है इस देश की? And then again, martial art has been patented by China. क्योंकि हम तो सोते रहे और हमें तो खुशी मिलती है सोते हुए. इसको पुनः जीवित करने की आवश्यकता है. A lot depends on the shoulder of the younger generation today. It is really good that in the form of a Maharishi, we have the Honorable Prime Minister of India who understood this. And that's the reason he took it to the whole world. The yoga, the concept of yoga. पश्चिम तैयार थे योगा को भी चोरी करने के लिए और पेटेंट करने के लिए, पर समय पे हम लोगों ने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पे योगा को लेके आ गए और आज दुनिया में भारत की जय जयकार हो रही है इसके चलते. There are countries across the world which has dedicated their capital city in the name of yoga. If I go to Indonesia, Jakarta, Yogi Katra. Yogi comes from the word yoga. Yoga Katra se Yogi Katra, Yogi Katra se Jakarta. So Indonesia is a Muslim country, but when I went there in Indonesia, the first greeting which I got in Indonesia when I landed in their Garuda Airlines, Garuda, जो भगवान विष्णु के वाहन हैं, उनके नाम पे Garuda Airlines, all of them, they greeted me with a Om Saste Nastu. I don't know how many of you out here would actually know the word or the phrase or the meaning of the shloka Om Saste Nastu. Does anyone know? Yes, absolutely. So this is something, like मैं तो तुच्छ हूं, मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं हूं. ये ब्रह्मांड पूरा उस जगत पिता का है और ये ब्रह्मांड की जिसकी उत्पत्ति होती है ओम से, उसी से मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूं ओम सस्ते नास्तु कहते हुए कि पधारिए हमारे देश में, हे अतिथि देव भाव, और यहां इस देश का आनंद लीजिए. मैंने पूछा उन सबको, व्हाट्स योर नेम? Someone said, I'm Ibrahim Arjuna. Someone said, I am Muhammad Arjuna, Muhammad Krishna. Someone said, I'm Iqbal Ram. Someone said, I'm Sushil Muhammad. Someone said, I'm Saraswati Ibrahim. Someone said, I'm Lakshmi Ibrahim. And someone said, I'm Durga Iqbal. This is what is called preservation of ancient culture and ancient philosophy. Indonesia got converted into Islam around 1628 AD onwards, but they retained their own culture. Ramayana is the national book of Indonesia. Ramayana is the national book of Cambodia. Cambodia comes from the word Kamboj or Kampuchea. Then Ramayana is the national book of Thailand. Thailand का पुराना नाम है Siam. Siam comes from the word Lord Sham, जिनके बारे में प्रोफेसर लक्ष्मीधर जी ने आज उल्लेख किया है, about Lord Krishna. All the kings of Thailand, they are known as Rama 1, Rama 2, Rama 3, Rama 4. मौजूदा जो राजा है रामायण थाईलैंड का, he is known as भूमिबल अतुल्या देज Rama the 16. भूमि means earth, अतुल्या means sun. सूर्य नमस्कार के बारे में आपने उल्लेख किया है, अतुल्या is sun, तेज is light or नूर. So भूमिबल अतुल्या तेज Rama the 16th. This is the essence of India. This is the greatness of India. If I go to Afghanistan of ancient times, the province of Sistan, which comes from the word Shivstan. Shiv, abode of Lord Shiva. Sthan means abode. Shivstan se Sistan, Kandahar from Gandhar was a epicenter of ancient yoga and ancient philosophy. गांधारी से बड़ा महायोगिनी कोई नहीं था महाभारत में, and she was a शिव भक्तिनी, you know. So like I mean, ये जो भारत का जो पुराना इतिहास है, इसको पुनः जीवित करना बहुत आवश्यक है आज के डेट में. अगर हम लोग इसको कर पाएंगे तो मैं समझता हूं कि टुडे वुड बी अ सक्सेस स्टोरी ऑफ इंडिया. वी हैव जस्ट एनलाइटन द होल वर्ल्ड थ्रू द नोशन ऑफ इंटरनेशनल योगा डे. मैं बधाई देता हूं IIT मंडी को कि आपने इतने शानदार दिन में यू एक्चुअली टुक दिस चैलेंज ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग such a huge concept, such a huge philosophy in the name of international yoga. वहां पे अमेरिका में इंटरनेशनल योगा का जय जयकार हो रहा है. आज मंडी में इंटरनेशनल योगा का जय जयकार हो रहा है. मैं गर्वित महसूस करता हूं कि आपने हमें बुलाया है यहाँ पे अपनी बातें रखने के लिए. और मैं समझता हूं कि आप जैसे आज हम लोगों ने योगा को पेटेंट कर दिया है, 2024 के बाद हम सब एक प्राण ले, एक शपथ ले कि लेट अस ऑल्सो मेक मेडिटेशन an international phenomenon which has originated from India and which has given the light to the whole world. और खत्म करता हूं अपने एक बात से, एक फेमस हिस्टोरियन के कपलेट से. A.L. Basham, a German historian, a wonder that was India. मैं कहता हूं India was always a wonder, India is always a wonder, and India shall remain always a wonder. And the couplet says, East bowed before the blast, in patient thought disdain. She let the legends thunder past, bowed in deep thoughts again. अंतर भी समझा देता हूं पश्चिम और मिडिल ईस्ट के साथ. जब 2 मिनट और दीजिए मुझे. East bowed before the blast. East means the great country called Bharat. Bowed before the blast. Bowed before the onslaughts which came from the West in form of colonialism, or the medieval onslaughts which came from the Arab world. In patient thought disdain. In patient thought disdain मतलब अपनी philosophical mode से. With a lot of patience, she accepted the onslaught. ये वही व्यक्ति कर पाता है जो कर्म योगी हो. आप अगर कर्म योगी है, आप अगर अपने आप को योगा के माध्यम से अगर पूरा जीवन को आप देखते हैं, तो आप ऐसे ऑनस्लॉट्स को बहुत पेशेंटली आप विथ पेशेंट थॉट डिस्डेन. शी लेट द लेजेंड्स थंडर पास्ट. शी लेट all the cyclonic storms of invasion thunder past, bowed in deep thoughts again, bowed back in her philosophical mode once again. और इसीलिए आक्रांता जितने आए, जब वो भारत को समझ पाए और जान पाए कि ये प्राचीन भारत क्या है, तो फिर नतमस्तक होके जाके शरणागत हुए हमारे देश के तमाम तप योगियों के सामने, इन विक्रमशिला और इन नालंदा और इन तक्षशिला. And gave and then said, hey, हम तो एक तरह से मतलब कि we were absolutely, you know, like I mean, we didn't know what is the truth of life as such. We were so abnormal and we were so agnostic to the eternal knowledge. Yours is a country of the Maharishis. I bow down before you as a disciple. Teach me the knowledge of ancient philosophy. Teach me the value of decimal system. Teach me the knowledge of cosmic self, and teach me the gyan of Brahmalok and the gyan of Shivlok and the gyan of Vaikuntha as such, you know. And that's the reason Firdausi or Al-Baruni, or for that matter Max Muller or Percy Brown or the rest, भारत के इसी धरोहर के सामने, देवी सरस्वती के सामने नतमस्तक होके इस एंशिएंट नॉलेज को अपने अंदर लिए और फिर पूरे भारत का स्तुति पूरी दुनिया में एक तरह से प्रकाशित किए हैं। आप सब एम्बेसडर हो इस देश का, समय आ चुका है कि इसी स्तुति को हम लोग पूरे दुनिया में अब फैलाए, थ्रू लव, थ्रू कल्चर, थ्रू फिलॉसफी एंड थ्रू नॉलेज, नॉट थ्रू पावर और नॉट थ्रू कॉन्क्वेस्ट। कॉन्क्वेस्ट के माध्यम से नहीं हो सकता है, पावर के माध्यम से नहीं हो सकता है, इंटरनल और इटर्नल स्ट्रेंथ के माध्यम से हो सकता है। और जिस दिन हम लोग ये कर लेंगे, पूरा दुनिया इस देश की उस गुणगान गाएगी, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, या तो फिर या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धि रूपे नमस्तिता, नमस्तस्वै 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 नमो नमः। जय भारत, जय भारती।
Thank you, Dr. Datta. Very thought-provoking session. Before we quickly take our tea break, we will quickly talk about technologies, human-computer interaction. I would like to invite CEO of IIT Mandi iHub and HCI Foundation, Mr. Somjit Amrit, on stage to tell us about the concept of HCI and unveil the Horizon Immersive through a short AR film presented by IIT Mandi iHub and HCI Foundation. Mr. Amrit.
Thank you. A very energizing talk by all our speakers. I think we learned a lot about yoga, we learned a lot about ancient India. Coming to IIT Mandi and not talking about technology is something which will be an amiss. So we at IIT Mandi have the Technology Innovation Hub, and the Technology Innovation Hub concentrates on human-computer interaction. We have made many attempts and successful attempts in bringing in human-computer interaction in multiple ways. Today we will be having an opportunity to see assistive technology, experience technology, and device-led technology through various startups which have come here. We will be inviting them to present it and in their booths. But before we break for tea, I would request you to enjoy the technology intervened, augmented reality based a movie on Himachal Pradesh and the beauty and the serenity of Himachal Pradesh, and we'll be focusing on areas which we have talked today in a visual form. It is called the Immersive Horizon, and I would like you to enjoy it before the tea. It will be a 4-minute video. Please run the video, please. Thank you.
Himachal Pradesh is bestowed with rich biological diversity. Himachal is blessed with rare medicinal herbs and plants which are used for preparing Ayurvedic medicines. Each plant or herb has a specific quality and can be used to treat a multitude of ailments and diseases. The Himalayan yew is a medicinal plant found in various parts of Himachal Pradesh. This plant has a chemical compound called Taxol, which helps in treating cancer and is one of the best-selling anti-cancer drugs in the world. Around 643 species of medicinal plants have their natural home in the foothills of the Himalayas. Even the Sanjeevani herb described in Ramayana, which Lord Hanuman acquired, was from the Himalayas. A number of medicinal plants are commonly used in Ayurvedic home remedies. Some of them help in fighting common ailments related to throat and skin, and some even in fighting serious diseases like diabetes. With Himachal Pradesh emerging as a hub of medicinal plants, the state government also plans to promote its tourism industry by promoting Ayurvedic care packages. Pradesh is often referred to fondly as Devabhumi.
करचरणकृतं वाक्कायजं कर्मजं वा.
As a religious tourist location, it is among the most visited states where devotees seek blessings.
श्रवणनयनजं वामा.
One of the oldest temples in Old Mandi is the Trilokinath temple located on the banks of river Bias.
विहितमविहितं वा सर्वं.
The name Trilokinath has originated from the three-faced murti, that is, image of Bodhisattva Trilokeshwar, which depicts the Lord of three worlds, Shiva.
श्री महादेव शम्भो.
Trilokinath is the most sacred pilgrimage after Kailash Mansarovar. One of the significant points of the temple is that both Hindus and Buddhists pay their reverence to the same deity. There are detailed carvings on the walls of the temple, and the dome of the temple has Chaitya domas. It is a deeply spiritual place where one receives the spiritual blessings of the Lord of three universes. Himachal Pradesh is richly endowed with beautiful lakes. There are more than 25 lakes and reservoirs with pristine water. One of such lakes is Parashar Lake, a freshwater lake located at an altitude of 2,730 meters in the Mandi district of Himachal Pradesh. The key feature of the location is the three-storied pagoda-like temple dedicated to the sage Parashar. It has a floating island inside, which adds to its mystique and majesty. The Parashar Lake trek is 8 kilometers long. The route to the lake is bedecked with lush greenery, numerous waterfalls, and small streams. Tourists get captivated by the breathtaking beauty of the place as they relish the scenic beauty of nature at Parashar Lake. One cannot miss the magical experience of the Parashar Lake.
I hope all of you enjoyed the visuals. We have some interesting technology interventions which we want to show you. They are related to yoga. We have created a yoga mat where sensors and actuators, they work on the yoga mat and make the yogi decide on the appropriateness of the yoga asana. So I think we will show that after the tea break. The second one we would like to show is a computer vision application which helps a visually impaired a person who is blind or nearly blind to see and read. The third one we would like to show is a technology where we are trying to check the body vitals using technology of PPG. So these are three interesting technology interventions for human health, for holistic health. Given that they are pretty interesting, and I would like you to come back after the tea break, and this will be a 15-minute session. After that, we will have the last session of the day, where we'll have Professor Sadbir Khalsa from Harvard Medical School. He'll be presenting on neuroscience and yoga, and a very interesting session. And we will be end this session with the last presentation of Dr. Satbir Khalsa. So let us break for tea, which is long pending. So, so let us do that and come back quickly to see the 3 technology interventions. Thank you.
The tea is being served outside Hall A. I would request all of you to come back quickly because we have very interesting